Hello everyone, how are you doing today on this Friday afternoon? I hope you're doing well and I hope you're ready for the weekend. Welcome to the stream. We're here for another episode of Chud Watch. Thank you Zombie Tomcat for continuing your Prime subscription. 2-month streak, 2 months and proud. Awesome, thank you. So yeah, today we're gonna have some fun and look at some bad right-wing takes on the internet. Firstly though, and this is something that's not big enough to be its own segment, so I just wanted to, talk about it briefly at the beginning. So, you know One Angry Gamer. We cover One Angry Gamer. We've covered One Angry Gamer multiple times. They're homophobic, they're transphobic, they don't like Black Lives Matter to the point that they made that, Traitors of America list and all sorts of dumb stuff. And it seems that One Angry Gamer, the sidebar ads that they usually have for big titty anime girl mouse pads and stuff, I guess they aren't paying the bills. Because, the last 1, 2, 3 of the 4 last articles that they've posted, and by the way, they haven't posted a real article since August 28th, and this is about Microsoft doing something about Halo. I have no idea. These are all sponsored links that are 92% off discount for Windows 10 Professional. They're not even subtle ads. Obviously, legally you have to disclose this as a sponsored post, but look at how sad this is.
There's nothing funny about the
Daughter of Tiamat with 100 bits. First of all, how dare Jake make me cry over a gnome last night? That was a good session. I almost cried during the stream, but I try not to do that because I'm a cold person and I feel embarrassed to cry in front of public people on the internet.
That's right,
but later I did end up reading the message from Sig to Baja because she missed the last bit of the stream because she was talking to a family member over Skype or over Zoom or something, and we both cried at that point, so it was a good stream. Anyway, so this is literally an article from One Angry Gamer, and it's disclosure, this is a sponsored ad. New discounts and coupons for Windows 10 are currently available from Good Offer 24. The discounts are available for a limited time, along with an additional price reduction from a 25% off coupon. It's not even they're pretending it's an article. It's just a straight up ad read, and 3 of the 4 last posts are by this. So I have a feeling One Angry Gamer will not be with us for very much longer. If they're shilling this hard and not spending time writing actual homophobic articles, which they normally do, they must be in a bad spot. So hopefully they'll be gone in the next couple months or so. The anime sponsors must have realized this is a shit website. Maybe. I actually don't see the normal, let me see, if I click on one of these, does the ad show up in the right? Yeah, interesting. There used to be really obnoxious ads right here in the corner. Maybe something did happen with those sponsors where they decided to pull out of this site. Maybe someone reported them to the sponsors. And even though, the people make big titty anime, prints and mouse pads and stuff, they might have been yeah, we don't want to be associated with this homophobe. So they might have pulled out, and now he's having to resort to this disgusting shilling. Not even just for, it's not for Windows, it's for some awful site, Good Offer 24, that I've never heard of. I wouldn't download something from that site. That sounds suspect. Tentacle Alien Man, thank you for subscribing at tier 1 for 2 months. Happy you get to catch the stream this early. I'm glad. Why is Sargon salty? Oh boy. So Joe Rogan, we'll cover this a little later. I don't know if this is the first thing we'll cover. You know what? Screw it. That'll be the first thing we cover. Okay? So the reason Sargon is salty, it seems, is Joe Rogan's podcast, if you don't know, which is one of the most popular podcasts in the world, shockingly enough, even though it's awful. Okay, how do I put this? The production isn't awful, and if he only talked to people about Bigfoot and UFOs and DMT, I wouldn't care. It's the fact that he brings on people like Jordan Peterson and Sargon and all sorts of shit. And I guess Sargon was maybe in an episode of it at some point, and when it got moved to Spotify because they paid Joe Rogan for exclusivity, they deleted they have not uploaded the Sargon one and several other episodes. Like, and Sargon's mad that he's not marketable. Of course you're not marketable, Sargon. You're awful. Excuse me. Apologies. So anyway, let's see how Sargon feels about the free marketplace of ideas now that people have decided that he's such shit, that he's not a marketable asset.
Back in May, Joe Rogan announced that he was signing an exclusive deal with Spotify and his content would be exclusively on that podcasting platform. So he would be leaving YouTube and presumably all of the other platforms.
Honestly, I'm thankful. Do you know how many times I've been suggested Joe Rogan's podcast? And if you listen to Joe Rogan, I guess that's your business. But, like, Joe Rogan is the most credulous person alive. He could bring on anyone. He could bring on someone who's like, I saw aliens in my backyard and they told me that the Mayans really didn't die out. They disappeared in a time travel experiment and they'll be back next year to help save the planet. And Joe Rogan would be like, oh wow, that's cool, bro. You ever do DMT? Like, he just brings on really shitty people like Jordan Peterson, and he doesn't question them at all. He just lets them spout nonsense to the largest podcast audience on the planet. It's real bad.
On which he was available and being there exclusively. And he did this for $100 million deal, according to the Wall Street Journal. So you can see why he would do it. And why shouldn't he? Why does he owe any of these other platforms any kind of obligation? Especially if he's
actually remove everything? Let me look real quick. YouTube. Like, if I search Joe Rogan, is the channel gone now? Or at least hidden? Roden. Joe Roden. That's not what I wanted. Joe Rogan. Powerful Joe Rogan experience. No, they're still uploading stuff. So they must just have, do they have like a timed exclusivity deal with like Spotify where they go on there first? Because they have full episodes that they've uploaded 3 hours ago, 2 hours ago, 3 days ago, 1 week ago, 1 week ago. So maybe it's just like a timed exclusive thing with Spotify. I have no idea. Either way.
In line with his own conscience, which he clearly said. He's been complaining recently about the oppressive nature of California and the fact that it's becoming less free, and he is moving to Texas, as many of his friends are. And I think that a part of this criticism is,
oh no, I have to wear a mask? My freedoms. Emphasis on the dumbs.
Also of Silicon Valley, the way that the tech giants, the big tech...
Please, move your tech companies to Texas so all your liberal employees will go and move to Texas and then we can turn Texas blue. Please, do that. It'll help the country.
Giants.
Because California will stay blue, but if you keep moving tech bros to Texas, it'll be pretty good electorally. I'm okay with that.
Restrain content. Well, he said here, it will remain free and it will be exactly the same show. It's just a licensing deal, so Spotify won't have any creative control over the show. They want me to continue doing it the way I'm doing it right now. I'm excited to have the support of the largest audio platform in the world, and I hope to see you folks there when we make the switch. That is interesting, because today was the day that the switch was made, and it seems that a lot of episodes have been not moved across to Spotify for reasons unknown.
So here's a list. Full list. I'll just find this list. Full list of Joe Rogan removed from Spotify. Full list of every missing episode from Spotify, from the Joe Rogan subreddit. Owen Smith, Krista Elia, Michael Shermer, Tommy Chong, and by the way, they're gonna say, like, I'm sure Sargon's gonna be like, they're censoring right-wingers. Like, Tommy Chong is also on this list, who is definitely not a right-winger. Joe List, Alex Jones, Nick Kroll, Michaela Peterson, Owen Benjamin, Krista Elia, Sargon, Gavin McInnes, Alex Jones, Milo Yiannopoulos, Stefan Molyneux. Like, you get it. It's people who they find controversial for one reason or another, and Spotify doesn't want to host these, and they probably had something about this in the deal for $100 million, and Joe Rogan is completely within his rights as the owner of the Joe Rogan Experience podcast to withhold these episodes from Spotify if it's something that he and Spotify agree to. Sargon is going to be mad about this, though. Even though this is clearly a business deal that all parties agreed to, Sargon's going to get salty and mad about it because he's not marketable, and he doesn't like facts. Because apparently his feelings are more important than facts. Interesting.
Now, there's quite a long list, and there's quite a variety of different people on here. And a bunch of people I don't know about. Like, I don't know who Jason Thibault is, or Brian Redband, Pete Johansson, Daryl Wright, Brian Whitaker, Jan Irvin, Joey Diaz. Like, repeat guests who have been on there. Eddie Bravo, isn't this a guy who's on fairly regularly? But then I found Adam Kokesh, a capitalist activist, has been told that he can't go on. I don't know who David Seaman is.
Adam Kokesh. I'm not sure who that is. Let's look him up. Adam Kokesh. Someone who Sargon called a capitalist activist. Adam Charles Kokesh is an American libertarian, political activist, radio host, and author. Kokesh was a U.S. 2020 libertarian presidential candidate running on the single-issue platform of an orderly dissolution of the federal government. He's just a capitalist advocate that wants to completely deconstruct the federal government. Why is that controversial, says Sargon, the idiot. Anyway. It's almost like anytime Sargon tries to, like, sum up someone in one sentence and it doesn't sound very bad, you can probably assume a single Google search will show that Sargon is sugarcoating it to the max.
Aspirin, but Dr. Stephen Greer. That's weird because he's the UFO guy. He's the bald doctor who talks about UFOs a lot.
Let me see. Dr. Stephen Greer. American ufologist, which I think should not be a thing people are allowed to call themselves. I am an expert in unicorns. If I say it, it's true. Stephen Greer is an American ufologist and retired traumatologist who founded the Center for the Study of Extraterrestrial Intelligence and the Disclosure Project, which seeks to... I'm having trouble reading today, sorry. Which seeks the disclosure of allegedly classified secret UFO information. So I don't know why this guy isn't getting put on Joe Rogan, but apparently something was said during that podcast, or there's something about the guy that I'm unaware of, that Spotify was like, nah, nope, not that one. Don't know why. I don't have to agree. They're a private business. They can do whatever the fuck they want.
And Joe Rogan loves UFOs. He has loads of these different types of conspiracy theorists on. And I love this content too. I'm not in any way judging this. I think this is the content that makes the internet worthwhile. So, weird, isn't it? I think David Seaman is a conspiracy theorist as well. So, okay. But then you've got Louis Theroux. It's like a British documentary maker. He's totally middle of the road. He's just like the...
Louis Theroux... Oh, did he do he did the My Scientology movie. Louis Theroux, documentary filmmaker, journalist, broadcaster, and author, has received 2 British Academy Television Awards and Royal Television Society Television Award. Born in Singapore to an English mother and American father, blah, 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 blah. Let's see what his documentaries are. Louis Theroux's Weird Weekends. In Weird Weekends, Theroux followed marginally, mostly American subcultures such as survivalists, black nationalists, white supremacists, and porn stars, often by living among or close to the people involved. Excuse me. His documentary method often subtly exposed the contradictions or farcical elements of some seriously held beliefs. He describes the aim of the series as setting out to discover genuinely odd in the most ordinary setting. Sounds interesting. When Louis met was a little bit later. Theroux accomplished a different British celebrity in each program. I think he did My Scientology movie, which is good if you haven't seen it too. So I don't know why Spotify decided not to put his episode on. But again, they're a private company. They can do what they want. Sargon, if you are in favor of free market capitalism, which you have espoused time and time again the virtues of, I don't necessarily agree, but you think free market capitalism is great. And capitalism says that people are free to make contracts with each other over most things, as long as it's not something completely abhorrent, like the ownership of other people, etc., etc. So Spotify went to Joe Rogan, offered him $100 million in exchange for exclusivity of his podcast. Joe Rogan said, sure. And then Spotify said, okay, but we have some conditions. These episodes, whatever they might be, we're not going to put on. And it might not even be that severe. It's possible they just got missed in the transition and they'll get put on later, which would be funny if he's freaking out about nothing in the first place. But even if it is something that's been removed due to that contract, they are free under capitalism to make that contract. So Sargon, what are you mad about? Are you mad you're just not marketable? Are you mad that the free market has deemed you so toxic that people will make contracts specifically to exclude your content from their platform? I'm sorry. Then you either need to stop being such an awful person that people don't want to associate with, or you need to advocate for a system in which the public ownership of platforms is accomplished. So it's not a private entity and everything is more or less public, and then anyone can post anything anywhere as long as it's not like a direct call to violence or, screaming fire in a crowded theater. But that doesn't apply here because Spotify is a private company and they can do whatever they want. So what's the complaint, Sargon? Because it just makes you come off like a hypocrite.
The regular guy who goes and does the crazy things with the lunatics in whatever experience he's having. But he's not some radical. And then we get to Stefan Molyneux, Chuck Johnson, Milo Yiannopoulos, Gavin McInnes, right, okay, Alex Jones and Eddie Bravo. So that the famous Alex Jones podcasts won't be on there. And then Gavin McInnes again, and me, Sargon of Akkad. I don't get to go across to Spotify.
Nope! Guess you shouldn't be so awful.
I think Owen Benjamin and Michaela Peterson, Jordan Peterson's daughter, doesn't get to go.
Yeah, yep.
And the legendary Alex Jones.
Based on the fact that, Jordan Peterson doesn't appear to be on this list, I assume he made the cut. They probably cut Michaela Peterson because she's advocating for, all meat diets, which is really, really unhealthy and is bound to kill you if you try and do it.
Returns. This was probably the best podcast I've ever watched. I was in hysterics the whole way through. I couldn't stop watching it. Best podcast and the single best Joe Rogan podcast, and it's not going to be on Spotify. That's mad. And Alex Jones is a personal friend of Joe Rogan's, and I imagine is one of the reasons he moved to Texas to be nearer to his friends. And
imagine saying that and not realizing it reflects really, really poorly on Joe Rogan. Oh yeah, Alex Jones, guy who got sued by the Sandy Hook parents because he was claiming that it was all a hoax and he had them getting harassed day in and day out. One of my best friends. Alex Jones is a bag of trash. Alex Jones is an awful person, and I get it. It can be funny to look at how crazy he acts, and it's like, oh, look at the meme, the gay frogs, Adrazine, ha 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 ha. Really, he's a destructive person. He's a destructive person that peddles really dangerous lies to a public that's too stupid or too crazy to recognize that what he's saying isn't true. And I'm not talking about the general public. I'm talking about the people who seek out Alex Jones and believe that InfoWars is a valid avenue of information on the world. The guy's nuts, and it's a good thing he's been deplatformed just about everywhere. He is awful.
And so I'm baffled as to why Joe Rogan wouldn't want these on his Spotify account. What?
Probably the $100 million. I think the $100 million probably did it. I don't think Joe Rogan went to Spotify and said, by the way, we're not going to put these ones up. I think Spotify went to Joe Rogan and said, hey, we have some of these podcasts that we'd like you not to put on here as a stipulation of our contract in which we're going to give you $100 million. I'm not going to make an Austin Powers joke because it's 2020 and no one will get it. Like, if someone wanted to pay me $100 million to put any of my content anywhere, I will do so. Please, yes. And tell me what ones you want me to remove. And then none of you will ever see me again. I'll just be living on a house yacht in the Atlantic Ocean, awaiting the end of the world. Like, what's the shock here, Sargon? I don't understand. Tucker White 24, as a matter of fact, I did get it. Well, good for you.
What's the problem? Tommy Chong? What is that? The guy from Cheech and Chong, right? Like, I mean,
$100 million to put your stream on InfoWars? Go for it. If InfoWars had $100 million, which they don't, but they wanted to spend it putting my stuff, which is antithetical to everything InfoWars stands for, especially my conspiracy theory debunks I do on Tinfoil Tuesday, please give me $100 million. Yes, I will take it.
Again, like Joe Rogan.
I have no standards for myself.
Famous for enjoying cannabis and other drugs, can't have Tommy Chong on his platform, on his Spotify account. But then,
yeah, I think that's kind of weird. And you think the other ones are weird. But we're not the ones in the contract, Sargon. Spotify and Joe Rogan are. And whatever reasons they might have for that, that's their business.
when we get to the really bizarre ones, Michael Shermer, I thought I recognized the name, so I looked him up. Michael Shermer was the founder of the Skeptics Society, and it's like one of the...
Isn't he, like, super Islamophobic? Isn't he, like, super anti-gun? And isn't he, like, kind of on the right now? I don't remember, but I feel like there was something about him that made people not like him. I don't follow, like, the atheist community very much. I haven't in a long time. Tucker White 24, anyone would turn into a Ferengi when given millions of dollars. True. Sargon's salty. He wants a Spotify contract, yeah. And it's hilarious to me, too, because Sargon's net worth is only like $750,000 last time I checked. Might be different now. I don't know. I don't know how often that stuff kind of updates. So he's not like, he's rich, but he's not like, you know, he's not $100 million rich. So if someone went to Sargon and it's like, we're going to give you $100 million, but here's a list of stipulations, I have a feeling his free speech absolutionist BS would fall by the wayside immediately. Sam Harris is a huge Islamophobe. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
New atheists, sort of that sort of area, so sort of people who are connected with Sam Harris and Richard Dawkins. People who are not, like, you know, I don't know, racists or bigots or really even very controversial.
Oh boy. Oh boy. That's a conversation for another day.
Apart from the fact that he critiques religion and is pro-science. You know, the kind of person that you want deplatformed these days. I don't know who Chris D'Elia and Aaron Smith are, but
Michael also had sexual harassment allegations.
Joe's done. It seems to have been left off here, and I just...
Yeah, Dawkins has outrun his usefulness as a public figure. He should just stop, go write some more books on genetics, but other than that, please stop. Stop, Richard Dawkins. Please stop. He's got some boomer opinions.
There's nothing funny about the
Who takes Sargon seriously anymore? I mean, how many views does this video have? 355,000 people do, apparently. He has a third, over a third of a million subscribers on this channel, and this isn't even his original channel. So, people take Sargon seriously. Not a lot of people, but enough that it's worth talking about.
I'm genuinely surprised at who is being lumped together here. This is a very wide swathe of people, but it's dozens of the podcasts that have not been uploaded to a Spotify account. Like, who made that decision? I'm really curious. I really want to know.
Probably Spotify. What
the rationale for this was, especially as Joe himself was saying repeatedly on his podcast. So look, you know, Silicon Valley censorship is getting out of control. You know,
and then someone went up to him and said, "Here's $100 million," and it flew by the wayside. It's almost like profit motive taints everything. How weird.
The Californian mindset is getting out of control. It's becoming tyrannical, and I completely agree with him. Like, why why would he be okay with this? And
Money.
so you get a lot of people in his subreddit saying things like, well, he's sold out. I somehow feel betrayed. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. There are some real questions here. So does this mean Alex Jones will never return to the podcast? We don't know.
I hope not.
I mean, I would consider that to be a deep loss because Alex Jones and Joe Rogan's podcast are the best. And I mean it. They're just top quality entertainment. But some of these episodes are so seemingly harmless. Nick Kroll, Tommy Chong, Rickson Gracie. If someone wanted to cancel Joe, they could go on YouTube and watch the episodes where excluded from Spotify and see the dirt they could pull. It really is interesting, isn't it? And the thing is, I don't think my podcast with him was particularly...
Shogu417, thanks for following.
Controversial.
It's controversial because you're in it, Sargon. You're the controversial part. Sargon, you must know at this point that people hate you and that you're a super right-wing ideologue. There's a reason people threw milkshakes at you, right? Like, do you not remember the entire UKIP campaign and how you tanked it and how you said things about how you wouldn't even, like, I'm going to use a different word, how you wouldn't even assault someone because you didn't find them attractive? Like, really? Do you not get it, Sargon? You're an awful person. You're toxic as a brand. No one will ever legitimately platform you for a large amount of money because you are bad for their brand. Just about anyone who gets associated with you will look lesser for doing so. I'm sorry that that hurts your feelings, but I guess you should stop being such an absolute monster shit then. That'd be great.
You know, I don't think I said anything controversial on the podcast.
His appearance was full of attacks on Anita Sarkeesian. Wow, is it 2012 already?
But to be honest with you, it was one of my more disappointing ones. Normally, I put in a much better performance when I'm being interviewed by someone. But
okay.
At the time, I was quite under attack by the powers that be, and it was... looking back on it, man, I wish that I'd got in more relaxed, but everything was happening so fast and there was so much happening around me that it was weird. But some of these are mystifying. Louis Theroux was so bizarre, I had to Google it. It's been blocked for me in YouTube due to copyright. I have no idea.
Tucker White 24 with a bit. I'll never understand what I saw in him back in 2016, yeah. I'm glad you don't see it in him anymore, no matter what it was.
I've seen the Louis Theroux one. But again, Louis Theroux is such a mild-mannered man. I have absolutely no...
I genuinely don't know why his podcast wasn't transferred over either. I don't have an answer, Sargon, and neither do you, but it doesn't change the fact that Spotify had some reason. They offered Joe Rogan $1 million times 100, and then he went, yeah, do what you want, meanwhile counting his money. Profit motive in action.
No doubt that he is not saying or advocating for something insane. But anyway, as I say, the comments are not happy about this. People are just not very happy. But apparently, someone who phoned them up said it can be due to permissions from rights holders that it may reappear and the right folks at Spotify will hear about this issue.
Licensing issues from the Thoreau end? Did they show clips of his documentary or like audio clips maybe and they have to deal with licensing through that? That might be possible. That would make some sense, I guess. Sargon tried to talk to Joe about Anita Sarkeesian and even Joe didn't give a shit.
I mean, it might be a licensing issue, but we don't know. And as far as I'm aware, Joe Rogan hasn't made a comment on this himself. As of yet, he hasn't actually made a comment on this. And I hope he does, because I really do want to know what the answer is. Because, I mean, I really
money. The answer's money, Sargon. It's very simple.
Respect Joe Rogan's stance on things like free speech and freedom of expression and personal choice in this manner. And so I really hope that he hasn't just decided to kind of bend the knee to Spotify.
Sargon, if anyone offered you $100 million, I feel like if someone walked up to Sargon's house and they pointed to a truck with $100 million on the back and they said, Sargon, you're going to be a social justice warrior from now on. That's right. You're going to advocate for racial equality. You're going to advocate for feminism. I think Sargon would do it for $100 million. I really think he would. Shylock, thanks for continuing your gift sub. I appreciate it.
And a bunch of arbitrary demands from Spotify, just to get rid of, again, a weird slate of people who aren't allowed to be uploaded. I mean, I know that from the a lot of the podcasts there I've watched, and all of them are Alex Jones' own content, Joe Rogan's own content. So it's. I don't think that the claims of copyright would have any legal grounds, if any grounds at all. So yeah, I don't have any further answers on this one. It's just really bizarre.
Does Sargon really have so little self-awareness that he doesn't understand why people wouldn't want to platform him? Like a legitimate platform with, like, respectability like Spotify? Like, you don't have to like Spotify. They're not even the music app that I use. Like, so I don't really care either way. But, like, people use Spotify. It's a known name, you know? It's a big company. Does Sargon genuinely not understand how people view him to the extent that he doesn't know why Spotify wouldn't want him on their platform? Is he that dumb? Is he that, like, narcissistic that he thinks people have this, like, at worst neutral view of him, when the average person looks at Sargon and goes, ew, that guy's awful. That guy said disgusting things. He's, like, angry right-wing grifter. Does he not know that's how people view him? I'd like to know.
After coming out framing this in the manner of, actually, this is going to be helpful for free speech, nothing's going to change, they don't want editorial control, to then we find that, in fact, there are a lot of people who won't be featured now. At the end of the day, it is his podcast. He can completely choose as he likes as to who he has on there, who doesn't, and what old episodes he removes. I just think that's very interesting, and the messaging is mixed, and I would like to know what the answer is, just because I am in some way affected here. But maybe it's because I was so spicy on Twitter when arguing with Nazis.
Sargon pretending he doesn't like Nazis is cute.
Yes. The worst thing I've ever done, to be honest. Anyway, folks, if you would like to support the...
Yes, Sargon, I'm sure it's the fact that you argued with a Nazi on Twitter, and not the fact that you literally said to someone, I wouldn't even RAPE you, very publicly, during a political campaign. I'm sure the two are not related.
The channel, and make sure that we can continue to keep growing and building onwards and upwards, because, you know, we got demonetized, and my Thinkery channel got demonetized the other day. I still take super chats on it, and then just for no reason, YouTube were like, no, this is promoting hate against groups of individuals. I'm like,
yay!
Wow, you really didn't like my last Rome Total War stream over there, did you?
Sargon, it's your brand.
Funny about the tools of
You made your bed. Sleep in it, bud.
It was in a video.
A Colston with 20 bits. In a recent video, Sargon got the, is that an L or an I? L, what? Even hashtag trend. Oh, he got the I would even hashtag trending. Oh my god. Sargon. No. You'd think he would have learned his lesson, huh? You'd think he would have learned his lesson, but I guess not.
Video game, what do you want me to say? The Spartans deserved it. And then I lost, and I wasn't happy. But anyway, if you'd like to support the channel, because we're demonetizing, you can check out our merch store, which is linked in the description, or you can check us out on Subscribestar and join there and come and hang out in our Discord server, which is always good fun. I'm always in.
Oh, Sargon, Sargon, Sargon. I pray for the day that Sargon's channels get deleted and he gets permabanned from YouTube. That'll be nice. Anyway, oh, we just put up a new video 25 minutes ago. We just did one, so we're not going to do two in a row. I guess we'll probably cover that next Chud Watch. What else we got? What else we got? What else we got? We have John Doyle lying about something. We have Elliot Hull saying that women should make babies first. We have, we have him saying pathetic P-word pandering men. I want to thank Ben Shapiro for making it so I can meme and say P-word constantly, and it's hilarious. College libs chase
nothing funny
Caitlin Bennett
about
off
the tools of
campus.
capitalism.
She has her private security, but apparently it didn't help. Shylock with 100 bits. We found a kitten recently trapped up in my car axle. You'd assume the cat would be scared of getting trapped in, like, metal and stuff. But no, the cat basically lives in the machinery of our lounge chairs. She reminds me of Sargon, but she's 5 weeks old. Why does she remind you of Sargon? Is she, like, dog whistling? We got Tate's speech. We got Tim Pool. What do you guys think? What do I think of the Dune worm? Looks good. Looked good. I think the movie Dune looks interesting. I think the director did Arrival, and Arrival was a really good movie. I haven't read the book Dune. I've heard it's, like, great, but I don't know. I think the movie looks interesting. I don't know if I'll see it in theaters, but I'll at least catch it after the fact. If the reviews come out and it's like, wow, this is like a 10 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10, you gotta go see this, then I'll see it in theaters, but it's not something I really, really want to do. I don't tend to go to theaters unless it's like a franchise that I care about, especially now, considering, you know, coronavirus. I'm not going to go out anyway. Freaking Out 99, I vote Tate. I want to get mad. Dune is like 24 hours long on audiobook. I do audiobooks. I could do that. That's fine. I listen to them while I'm like playing video games or and other stuff. Or when I'm driving, although my car's been broken for like the last 4 months, so I haven't been driving. Looks like Caitlin's winning based on the number of poop girl emojis. So, Caitlin Bennett, this video is entitled College Libs Chase Caitlin Bennett Off Campus, even though she has her private... Remember a while back she did that video where she's like, this is my private security. They're so awesome. They have guns. Try and F with me, liberals. You're gonna get shot by my security guards. But apparently this video from today is College Libs Chase Caitlin Bennett Off Campus. So what's the point of the security then if you're just gonna be scared and run away anyway? Seems kind of pointless, but okay. We're obviously not gonna watch this whole video, it's an hour, but we'll watch little bits. And I want to see the part where she gets chased off, because that's fun.
Go home, Caitlin!
I love this immediately.
Go home, Caitlin! Kick her out! Kick her out! Kick her out! Kick her out! Kick her out!
If you ever find yourself in a situation where people are chanting in unison that you should go away, maybe reconsider what you're doing. This isn't 100% of the case, because shitbags also can chant in unison, but it should at least trigger some self-reflection, right? How did I wind up in this situation?
They hate the police, yet they're asking the police to kick me off campus.
Yeah, I can dislike the police and still recognize that they're the only recourse we have in society. This is equal to the argument that's like, aha, you dislike capitalism, yet you are using an iPhone. Haha, checkmate. Yeah, we can dislike systems while still understanding that we need to function within those systems and navigate them in such a way as to change them from within, right? Like, if I go and live in the cabin in the woods and subsist off of nothing and I don't, like, partake in capitalism whatsoever, I'm not gonna have any effective change on said system, right? Okay.
I got you. You're good. Secure that building.
Oh my god, she looks so scared.
Secure that building right there. Secure that one.
Back him up, back him up, back him up. Right here.
This is amazing, and I love it. Can we chase all the Nazis away collectively as a society like this? I think they've gotten too bold in the last 4 years. I think they think that they're like starting like, we're gonna rise again. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're a bunch of weeds that pop up every once in a while and you need to be fucking ripped out.
Sir, shot.
Yeah, we're in the horn with him. Let's go.
Justin, you're in there with her.
On a level of 1 to 10 of how ridiculous this is, I'm at a 20.
Caitlin, people hate you because you're awful. That's why. That's why this is happening. Anyone can say, someone might say you deserve this or whatever. I don't know. I think it's a complicated situation. But I think it's fair to say if you throw rocks at a wasp nest, then why am I gonna feel bad for you when you get stung? You know what I mean?
Guys, don't forget to go libertyhangout.tv. Watch all of this footage. There's so much. We're just going to let it all loose on libertyhangout.tv so you guys can see what's going on.
Why does she post these videos? Does she think this makes her look good and other people look unreasonable? Because it doesn't. This is just amazing. This is the best.
Appreciate you talking to me. I really do appreciate it. If there's anything else you would like me to...
Do not approach. Do not approach.
Get off of him.
Do not. Do not.
He needs to wear a mask. Wear a mask or get off campus.
Oh yeah, they're not wearing masks either, and people are mad about that. Of course they are.
No, you're approaching her aggressively, sir.
Ma'am, would you like this toilet paper?
Wear a mask. She has one. She has one. Anyways. I want to mention that a lot of these people are feminists or liberals. They're out here super cool leftists. They claim my body, my choice.
She's gonna do the stupid argument. They claim my body, my choice. So why can't I openly infect others with my disease? Checkmate, liberals. You guys, this has been covered about 1,000,001 times. You know this is a bad argument. Why continue to propagate it?
Yet they're mad. Holy crap, wait. There's a social distancing gathering limit here on campus. There's more than 12 people gathered. What are you guys doing? You're killing people out here. Everybody's going to die. There's more than 12 people out here. There's a policy on campus that students cannot gather in groups more than 12. Yet they're out here. Look at this.
Look at all these people I caused to form an angry mob around me. Interesting argument.
You guys are putting lives in danger. You're putting lives in danger. You're putting this black person's life in danger. What's wrong with you? You're gathering
The person that you hired who's choosing not to wear a mask? Right.
above the limit. Aren't they? They're gathering above the limit.
Conversation. That's all they're doing. They're shutting down conversation. They're scared of truth.
I'm just trying to come out here and talk to people about what's going on.
Yeah.
Yes, what a freaking alpha male.
I
Yes.
had COVID. I'm not scared of it, man.
Yeah. Well, don't give it to me.
No.
Caitlin, you're so close to having some self-awareness there. Oh, well, I had COVID. Oh, well, don't give it to me. Oh, should he be taking precautions and wearing a mask, and maybe you should be wearing one too? You stupid woman.
Isn't it funny that there's a gathering limit on campus? They won't follow their own policies to protect people on campus, yet they berate me for not choosing to do something with my body?
Hey, you're by your choice, you know?
So they want to kick me off.
But it's not your body. If you're at your home, you can do whatever the fuck you want. But you are endangering others, right? You are endangering other people by spreading disease potentially by not wearing a mask.
Nope, not happening today.
You're not a clown, you're the entire circus.
That was brave and cute. Okay, why are you violating the order? So I have free speech, I can say, but I'm saying a lot of statements that are true. of social distancing. No, you're not. You are not allowed to gather more than 12 people.
Interesting. She put on a mask at this point. I wonder if she got intimidated into doing it or what.
I am now. Your policies on this I'm sorry for touching you. Your policies on your campus is that there are no more than 12 people allowed to gather in one space.
Listen,
you guys are not following that.
We didn't have a party. Like, we didn't choose, like, oh, we're all gonna
This is a gathering.
But this is caused by you. You're the reason we're all gathered here.
I'm the reason that you
Yes. Yes. That's the answer, Caitlin.
can't social distance.
Well,
I'm that much of a threat that you guys can't
Yes. Leave.
follow your own policies. Why are we moving?
Yes. On to another. We scouted it out yesterday. Hold on. Wait.
Why are we moving?
We move it to the new location.
Okay. Oh. We are moving to a new location. This is crazy. She just asked for his badge number because he told her to back up. So, if your ideology and your side has to have the police escort a 5'4" little 120-pound blonde girl
You have 4 armed guards with you, lady. What are you talking about?
to a different location,
And obviously the police are there to escort you, not the other way around. Are you stupid? The police are protecting you from the crowd, not the crowd from you. You get that, right?
campus because you're so loud, you're so intolerable, you're so aggressive and dangerous in your behavior.
She's like shook. She is shaken by this. She is not talking with the same like smug arrogance she normally does. Like, you can tell there's like wavering in her voice. Like, I think this genuinely scared her. I hope every college she shows up to for the rest of her life treats her like this. And she just gives up at some point. It's hilarious.
You might not have the best ideas. If ideas have to be presented with force.
If angry mobs show up when you come to talk to people on campus, have you considered that your ideas are bad? Just curious. You know how much work it takes to get young people into an angry mob? You basically have to shoot an innocent person if you're a cop, or just be the most abhorrent person possible, especially during COVID, which people actually take seriously when they're younger for some reason, despite the fact that it's higher risk to older people. Like, do you know how awful of a human being you have to be to get, like, dozens and dozens of college students to show up and just scream at you until you leave?
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
The queen of right-wing simps. Yup. Claire the Egg, if ideas need to be presented with force, has 4 armed guards.
You are already losing. There is a ban.
You're already losing, guys. Security, let's get out of here. Sure sounds like you're winning, Caitlin. Sounds like you're winning.
There is a policy ban campus-wide on 12 people gathering in a spot at the same time. These people, there's at least 200 of them.
We'll put her back to the right here.
He wants this way.
That's an interest, everything.
Yeah, I've just been talking to people. However, these students have been drowning out conversations I've had with black students.
I think that's the entire point. The entire point is to make it so this is a waste of your time and you stop doing it.
And Mexican.
Hi, how you doing?
Did you say you're not involved with
I'm
them?
not involved with this mob thinking. I think
Oh, yeah,
you're...
we already talked to you.
Yeah, I talked to you, yeah. I think you have a right to be here. I don't think it's a problem. I think it's kind of ironic that everyone's yelling for you to wear a mask, or they were, when they are not social distancing. I thought that was kind of funny.
It is a little funny. They're putting everybody at risk, aren't they?
They are putting everyone at risk.
The concern trolling is hilarious. Because Caitlin doesn't care about this. She wasn't even wearing a mask earlier. This guy doesn't care about this. What he cares about is trying to be like, I'm worried about these people. This is literally what the right is talking about when they say like, oh, you're virtue signaling. That's what Caitlin and this guy are doing. They're pretending to care about something when they don't. I don't like the term virtue signaling, though. I'd call it more concern trolling in the case of this. Stephen J. Neptune, man with 15 bits. Caitlin, these students are exercising their freedom of speech, just like you. Yup.
Would you mind if we got a selfie real quick?
I don't do selfies.
Okay.
But I'll take the selfie.
That's kind of weird. I wonder why that's their policy.
Thank you very much. I'll welcome you back when you come back.
Do you a favor if you guys can finish up at 2:30 and be done with it. You got to cover your nose, my man. It's got to be.
Are they going to be asked to stop coming
Okay.
more than 12?
Listen to me. I can't do that. They're not listening, okay? So you guys have to be reasonable, please. I'm asking you.
The cops are like, come on. Stop.
It's been so reasonable.
I know. No, but listen, I'm asking you please to leave by 2:30.
I'm not leaving.
Caitlin, Blue Lives Matter, except right now, I guess. Because I'm going to yell at the cops. A cab, am I right, Caitlin?
I don't have to leave.
This is becoming
I do not. I'm not responsible for their behavior.
But you are right now because they're here because you're
I'm
here.
not. But that is, I am not responsible for their behavior. I didn't.
It's almost like in the real world, you can't hide behind, like, some weird philosophical, like, well, I'm here, but it's their fault. They're mad that I'm here. Well, no, Caitlin, you're here and you're basically inciting a riot. Like, I understand that you don't feel that way, but that is nonetheless consequentially exactly what is happening. And the cops don't deal in, like, philosophical, oh, whatever. Cops don't do anything except be like, fuck, I don't want to be here all day. Go home at 2:30, Caitlin.
Ask them to
I'm
do
asking you as for a favor. You're not going to do it.
Logarth with 10 bits. I'll take inciting a riot for $100, Alex. Yeah. And I'm not responsible for the consequences of my actions. Yeah.
You're not going to leave.
Why do I have to?
Because look at the crowd. Nobody will socially distance because they're so passionate about being here. If
That's not my
somebody
fault.
is positive in this crowd,
That's their
they could be
opinion.
spreading
To push back. You guys have the ability to push back. Why are we not pushing back? Like, we need
I'm trying to work it out reasonably, okay? I don't want the cops to start pushing the crowd back. That's not what I want.
we had a group.
We have dogs and cats.
What's going on?
I'm asking you guys a favor.
Caitlin's guards are literally like, why aren't you beating the protesters like you're supposed to?
Okay, you're not gonna
I
do
have
that.
done everything you've asked, every favor. I put the mask on. I moved to a
Okay.
different location. I'm
listen to me.
not responsible for their
Please listen to me,
behavior.
okay? Now that this is impacting the university's health and safety of all these students, okay? We're gonna get closer. I'm gonna have to ask you guys to leave and then trespass you.
Because of their behavior.
Yes.
I'm not responsible for their
You
behavior.
are
Yes, you are, Caitlin. If you take an action and it causes consequences, you are responsible for that. And I understand that you don't like that. And you're like, well, I didn't tell them to come and yell at me. Caitlin, you're an awful person. You're a provocateur. It's literally your job. So when you show up at a college campus and you know people hate you, this is the understandable, foreseeable consequences of your actions. And that is on you. Right? Like, it would be like, what if I went into a crowd and I was like, I don't know. Let's put it on a smaller scale. Let's say I'm an 80s summer camp comedy, right? And I don't know. I'm the main character. No, the main character wouldn't do this. The side character, and their name is like Boner or something, and they go food fight and throw a pie, and then the rest of the camp does a food fight.
Funny about the
And they're like, well, I didn't make everyone else do a food fight. I'm not responsible for their actions. That's not how, like, consequences work. You incited this, Caitlin. Bumble Homestead's 2 bits, starts a bison stampede, gets run over, shocked Pikachu face.
Responsible right now
No,
because
I
you're here
am
because
not.
you're here.
I am
okay?
not here.
Caitlin, please. I'm trying to be reasonable with
I
you.
did everything you asked me to do. I put a
Except leave.
mask
not.
on.
I'm
Yes,
asking
I
you to
have.
leave and you're not leaving.
I'm not leaving because I have a right to be here. I am not responsible.
Can you imagine being so comfortable, like, and thinking that you're so safe around a cop that you think you can yell in their face and argue with them about whether or not you should leave a location. Like, I'm white, and even I would be like, all right, like, I'm doing whatever a cop tells me, and if they do something illegal, that's something to deal with, like, in a court of law later. Who disagrees and argues with a cop? That's really, really stupid. That's a good way to get shot. Caitlyn won't get shot because she's like a white woman. Like, of course she's not going to get shot, especially if she's wearing, like, a Trump mask. Logarth, oh my god, she thinks this makes her look good? Yeah, I think so. She consistently puts out material that shows her to be awful, and I don't know if she realizes it. It's like she thinks this makes her look good, but it doesn't. It makes her look like a jackass.
Responsible for their behavior.
Listen to me. But, Caitlin, please.
That is not fair.
Because they're here because you're here.
You know why things are happening in this country? Because police won't stand up to these people.
Let me talk to you about something, okay? Are you kidding me? We are protecting your right to do this right now. Okay?
You're asking me to leave, protect my rights, and hold them responsible.
You're not listening to me. Somebody could be sick in this crowd right now, okay?
Yeah.
And I don't like that idea.
Me neither.
Because we want the university to continue to run as an organization, okay? Yeah. So I'm just asking you, please, if you and your team would leave, then we're going to have to trespass you. And if you violate the trespass, then it's a criminal thing. Okay? This is not safe.
It's like she's so shocked. It's like she's amazed the cops aren't on her side 100%. It's so amazing. This is the best shot I didn't expect it to be this good. Like, I hadn't watched this video prior to clicking on it for this stream. I didn't realize the cops were going to be like, Caitlyn, you need to leave. This is the best. This has made my day, and I'm not even kidding.
Given the current conditions of this pandemic going on.
This isn't my responsibility.
I want all the rights, but no responsibilities. Have you graduated to big girl pants yet, Caitlyn? Doesn't seem like it. Right-wing whining and pooping your pants. Name a more iconic duo.
I walked away. I walked away.
You didn't walk away. We changed locations.
So if someone rapes a girl because she was there at a party, is he not responsible? He is held responsible. It is.
It's a bad analogy, Caitlyn.
It is, because I am not asking these students to do this.
You have the ability to make this end right now.
If you have the ability to make this end.
No, we don't. They're not listening
to us,
right? If you guys leave, right, then nothing has to happen. We don't have to push people back. The cops don't have to come in here and push people away.
No, you're not going to blame me. You're not going to blame me and hold me responsible for this.
You won't hold me responsible for my own actions. Sandil, thanks for your 3-month subscription streak. What have you entered into? The greatest video we've ever watched on Chud Watch. Caitlyn Bennett being run out of town.
What would make people leave is if you enforced it.
Are you guys going to leave?
If I don't leave, are you going to handcuff me?
We are going to trespass you if you don't leave.
And then I'll get handcuffed.
I don't know yet. Okay? I don't...
Based on the way you're talking to them, yeah, they probably will, and that would have been amazing, quite frankly. I want to see the video where Caitlyn Bennett gets arrested for not listening to the cops, and then meanwhile we'll go to another video where she's talking about, like, anyone who's been shot by the police. The funny thing is, and she's used this argument before too, she's like, why don't you just comply with the police? They won't shoot you if you comply. And here she is, arguing with a cop to his face. It's almost like it's never been about compliance with these people, and it's always been about, I'm white, and therefore the cops will do what I say, and you're black, so you need to do what the cops say, because they work for me. They make it pretty blatant. Well, 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 if it isn't the consequences of my own actions.
I don't want to do that. I'm begging with you for you guys to leave, please. We've allowed you to do this for a few hours, okay?
You know what's going on in this country?
We've been helping you every step of the way, okay? I think it's time that if you just think about it, we would like this crowd to disperse, and the best way for that to happen is for you guys to leave.
They even let her do this for like a couple hours. Like, I think it's pretty clear at this point. You've had your say, you got to talk to some people, you got to make a scene. Congratulations, Caitlyn, you did it. You made an angry mob. Now leave. Shylock with a bit. Zero when a cop puts his hands on his hips and says, I don't know yet. When you ask if they're going to arrest you, you're going to have a bad day. Yeah. Catalina Gearbox with $5. Have you seen the Crowder video where goes to a trans teen's job and harasses him over things he said on Facebook. Oh, he goes to like a trans teen's job and harasses them? That's stupid. That does sound like something Crowder would do, though.
The best way for that to happen is to hold them responsible for their actions. I'm not doing anything to make them do this.
Doesn't she bother people on campus all the time? I don't know if it's the same one. Ohio University. Her first college visit since Ohio. Oh, no. First college visit. I'm reading real well today. In her first college visit since Ohio University last winter, Caitlin was chased off campus by libs at University of Central Florida. She goes to different colleges, so I don't know if she's been to this one before.
Tell me how you would like for us to push all these people back right now, okay?
What?
Tell me how you'd like for us to do that with the limited number of police resources we have.
I am not a police officer. You guys figure that out. That's your job.
I've just figured it out. If you guys leave, they will disperse.
I am not going to be victim blamed. I am not going to sit here and be told this is my fault. I am not going to fall victim to that
Caitlin.
victimhood
I thought that
mentality.
you'd be a reasonable person and help me out.
I am reasonable. Yes, I am. I'm completely...
At this point, you should be like, all right, 2:30 or else we're arresting you for trespassing. Period. End of story. You've tried to talk about this enough. Thank you, Bell Bendigo, for following. Welcome to the stream.
Reasonable. Because I put the mask on. I moved where they wanted me to move. These people are following their orders. That's not my fault. I'm not holders. Get over here. You agree?
Yes, ma'am, fully.
So, do you think I should have to leave because these people won't follow policy?
No, it's a public campus. You have the right to be here. These people...
Apparently not. The cops disagree.
It's the jobs, like...
Let's see the part where she actually gets thrown out.
Kisses for the psychos. What are you thinking?
She sounds like a sovereign citizen a little bit.
I mean, you got every right to be here.
Except she's trying to weaponize the cops against people.
I'm responsible for their violence. I have done everything they've asked. I put on this. I moved the first time. I'm moving the second time. I'm not moving again. If I get off this campus, it's going to be in handcuffs.
We already saw at the beginning you, like, run away, so... Why include the part where you're like, I'm not gonna leave if you edited this and you know you're gonna leave? I almost feel like whoever's the... Maybe Caitlin Bennett doesn't edit these videos. Maybe she hands all the footage over to an editor who's a secret, like, liberal or leftist and is like, I'm gonna make Caitlin look like shit. If so, they're doing a great job.
This is why we have the issue we have in our country. The police victimize people who are victims of mob brutality. If the police would do their jobs, we wouldn't have this issue, but we do because they know they can get away with it. Our country has been burning for 100 days, and you know why? Because the police won't do anything. They're told to stand down by Democratic cities and Democratic mayors. If they did their job, they would know they couldn't get away with this, but they don't. That's why we're here in this country. Do not give them an inch. Do not leave your campuses. Do not do what they want you to do. I will not be a victim of their mob brutality. I will not leave this campus. Let's just walk around campus.
Yeah, let's just walk.
We're just gonna walk. JR. So these kids have been in quarantine for 6 months. We're just gonna go on a walk around campus. If I'm walking, I can't be responsible for them standing around, so let's go. Let's go on a walk.
I hope you got corona and died for not wearing the right mask.
Say that again?
I hope you get corona and die for not wearing the right mask.
Awesome. All right, let's keep moving. All right. If you ask the cops, I'm responsible for that death threat because I'm here.
You're afraid, you're a coward!
Coward! Someone screaming coward at her.
Get
that skateboard away from me. Guys, don't forget to go libertyhangout.tv. Watch all of this footage. There's so much. We're just going to let it all loose on libertyhangout.tv so you guys can see what's going on.
Black lives matter! Black lives matter!
Let's not cry. Where we're at now, okay? This is obviously the crowd.
I assume the cop's like, you need to leave right now.
I'm walking, so I'm not standing somewhere for them to gather.
What's that?
I can't be responsible for them gathering if I'm walking around.
that.
I'm trying to leave.
What's your
I can't
plan?
go back to my vehicle.
Where's your vehicle?
In that moment, she changed tactic and was like, oh, the cop's really getting on me. I'm not just walking around, even though I just said I was. I'm going back to my vehicle. I thought you weren't gonna leave, Caitlin.
Just tell me where it is.
It's in my garage.
Someone just said, how did shitting yourself feel? No, this isn't this is in Florida, not Ohio. The description talked about Ohio because Ohio, one of the university in Ohio is the previous university she went to. This is in Central Florida, University of Central Florida.
What's your plan now? You want to stop? You want to keep walking? You want to keep walking?
No KKK, no fascist USA! No KKK, no fascist USA!
Is this the first time Caitlin's realized how outnumbered she is? Like, does she have delusional fantasies? Because, like, Liberty Hangout is, like, pro-monarchy. I'm not kidding. They literally tweeted once, democracy is a soft form of communism. Like, they want straight-up fascist government. They want, like, a monarchy or a dictatorship. Did she just realize this day, like, oh, if we tried to do that, 99% of people would kill us? We are not just a minority. We are, like, barely existent as a group. Oh no. Did she think secretly the university was going to be full of people who back her, and instead you have like hundreds of people showing up who hate her and like 2 who are like, I like you.
They're saying 12, the police. They have the police here to try to get me off campus. This is probably the 12th time
The police are independently getting you off campus because they understand you're inciting a riot. What's up?
I finished the application for that certification program.
Nice.
I'm so excited.
Good job.
Thank you.
Caitlin Bennett's getting run out of town, and it's hilarious. This is the best video she's ever put up.
I know. I've been like listening to it while I've been submitting the application.
I have documented their hypocrisy and their contradictions and the hate.
So at my university, there's a graduate certification in community engagement and outreach, I think. And my major professor suggested that I apply because I'm really into outreach and it's something that I've shown a lot of interest in, and like I'm in the student organization for my program, so I do a lot of outreach. And so I like just finished the application, which was like writing 3 essays and just filling out some paperwork and stuff. But I'm excited.
Hatred for the police. Okay, you know what I just realized? Liberals hate the police, but apparently they hate Caitlin Bennett more.
That's tough. Do I hate the police or Caitlin Bennett more? How do I put this?
Ooh.
Police at least can have a function, theoretically. Caitlin Bennett, I don't think is good for anything. So do I hate Caitlin Bennett more than the police? The police are more capable of harm, but Caitlin Bennett has less theoretical utility. So that's a difficult question.
This is why I have security, guys. This is why it's so important to support my work. Patreon.com/Caitlin Bennett. Go there, support my work so I can keep these guys with me. I'm not going anywhere without them anymore. Your support lets me have them by my side. I just want to point out, Caitlin Bennett has gotten these people to exercise a little bit more than Michelle Obama. Good going. Just be a conservative.
Imagine in 2020, while being run out of town for being a fascist, you try and take a shot at Michelle Obama's Get Fit program. What an edgy and relevant joke, Caitlin.
They're going to lose so much weight, they're welcome.
Ask Compu with a bit. What did I miss? Did you watch the thing I sent days ago that you bookmarked? I don't remember what it was. Was it the Arthur thing? Because I do still have it.
Black lives
If
matter.
it's that.
Black lives matter. Black lives matter.
So I'm just gonna keep walking in a circle.
Go home, Caitlin.
Doesn't give any value though. I mean,
Go home, Caitlin.
Oh no, it does give me value. The fact that they're doing this.
I didn't ask you to before. What did you forget?
Earlier, and then I turned it off because I was cleaning.
Oh, well, I could have turned it on. I just didn't want it on earlier. It was the black conservatives thing. Was that about the Arthur thing? It was a black conservative looking at the Black Lives Matter Arthur thing. Hold on. Was it this? Arthur cartoon goes full woke and Black Lives Matter?
How long do you plan to walk?
Until they stop. I will not be forced off of a campus because people are crazy.
I will not be forced off of a campus, she says, while being forced off of a campus. It was not about Arthur, then no, I don't have it.
It's so... You know...
But hey, can we get in front? They're starting to surround us even more. I don't want to talk to that police officer anymore either.
I don't want to talk to the cops. Caitlin, that's not how that works. Aren't you the person who again says, like, all you need to do is comply and don't worry about it? Why don't you just comply with the police, Caitlin? Huh? Why don't you take your own advice? Where did it go?
Thank you for being here. Thank you for doing what you're doing.
What do you think about this?
I think this is utter bullshit, in my opinion. Excuse my French, but what you're doing is you're promoting the president. There's nothing wrong with promoting the president.
That would entirely depend upon the president, wouldn't it?
The president is not a racist individual.
Well, that didn't take very long to come crumbling down, did it?
He's done more for the black community than Obama did in 8 years.
The statistic conservatives will use to back that up is black unemployment is before COVID, the asterisk is of course before COVID, was the lowest it had ever been. What they don't mention is that it continued to lower after Obama, but by less. Under Obama, it dropped like 5-something%, and then under Trump, it has dropped 0.5%. So it continued a trend, a downward trend, but lessened under Trump. So actually things got worse for black unemployment in terms of reducing it. But they're like, but it's lower, so Trump did more. No, he didn't do more. He's benefiting off the things Obama already did and then slowed it down, but it's still going negative, and then you're claiming victory. The outright lies are absolutely bananas.
My family is immigrants. I'm Cuban. My family came here from Cuba. They grinded, they worked their asses off to achieve the American dream. The people that are coming here from Mexico, from Cuba, they're not doing that. They don't have...
Imagine being the child of immigrants and still being a shitbag that's like, well, we got in, but all these other immigrants, they're bad. God, the lack of self-awareness is just so sad.
I have the same work ethic that my parents had. And on top of all that, these chants, they just don't make sense.
Sorry, no.
They're the ones being the real fascists right now. They want to block your free speech.
Let's run up here and get away from them.
Okay, let's go.
Come with me.
Caitlin, do you want to map with all the bathrooms on campus?
We just got very
Like, how would the editor not catch that and remove that? Someone just said, hey, Caitlin, do you want a map of all the bathrooms on campus? Like, there was no reason to include that if the editor of these videos doesn't understand how bad Caitlin is and they're trying to make her look bad. Like, that's a perfect comedy edit. They literally let in that comment and then cut right after. At Colston with 20 bits, a lot of Cuban immigrants were rich folk who got kicked out by Castro for being shitbags. I have no idea anything about it, so I can't comment on that. Logarth with a bit. The editor is the real hero of this whole situation. It really seems like they are.
Interrupted because they will not let you, a brown person, talk to me.
They're the same people that come up to me and tell me that I'm not actually brown, that I'm not actually Hispanic for supporting Trump. And it's honestly kind of childish because at the same time, they're the ones promoting anti-fascism,
Oh no! Anti-fascism! Oh god, these people. I'm so glad they're outnumbered.
You know, being a bully and all that, but they're the ones that want to silence me. They're the ones that want to silence the president, and it just doesn't make sense.
I am not leaving this campus. I will not be controlled by the mob. People do not get to tell me what to do. I am not a brainwashed little sheep that does what the Democrats want me to do.
I'm a brainwashed sheep that does what the president tells me to do.
Alright, what do you think about this?
I think that they got a severe case of TDS.
I think they have KDS. Caitlin Derangement Syndrome.
They're claiming you're racist. I'm Filipino. Clearly you only...
This implies that only white people can be racist, which isn't the case. What do they not get about this?
Called to interview because I said, hey, I like...
Heck, what's his name? Jesse Lee Peterson, right? Jesse Lee Peterson is a horrible racist. He also happens to be a black guy, right? He says things like, I quote, "I'm black, so I'm slow." Like, you can be a minority and be racist. What do people not understand about this?
I'm not here to, like, rally against you.
I know, if they would just be respectful, we could talk. Yeah. Do you think we should do a pro-Trump rally on this campus?
I'm sure that would go really well. Good luck, Caitlin. You couldn't even just hang out by yourself without getting ran out of town, much less try and hold a rally.
If they don't chase us out.
Yeah, when you look at this happening on your campus, what goes through your mind?
Liberal indoctrination.
Who indoctrinated them? Snapchat, Twitter?
Yes, I know, when I'm going through Snapchat and putting on lady filters to help with my dysphoria, it's just inundated with the liberal media. What?
The media? Your professors? Think so?
I know one that cried after Trump was elected, in class.
This is pathetic. You're brave for standing up.
Yeah, because Trump hurts a lot of people and has hurt a lot of people. Oh, did we make you cry for hurting you, liberal? Yeah. Yeah. Imagine being smug about making someone cry.
We had a class at my undergraduate university called Plants and People, and it was the most amazing class ever, and we had an amazing professor. She was so sweet and taught us so much. And the day after Trump was elected, we all went to class and all of us were crying. It was like a class of like 25 people, maybe less than that. And she sat down and was like, you know, this is going to affect a lot of you more than it will affect me. And I'm so upset for you and I'm so sorry for all of you because, like, she's like, I'm an old white lady, like, his policies aren't going to affect me as much as it might affect some of my classmates and stuff. And she was like, I think that we all need to show each other some love, and had like the whole class, if we wanted to, get up and give each other like a huge group hug. So like, literally fuck off.
Yeah. If we're just even talking about COVID, almost 200,000 people have died because of Donald Trump's inaction. Worse than inaction. At the beginning, he's like, this is a Democrat hoax. Like, if you're not crying over the fact that, like, the Trump administration has the blood of tens of thousands of people on their hands, you're fucked up.
Up here with me.
Thank you.
And you got some guts.
My friend Lindsay's looking for you.
Go around me!
We're up to 192,000 deaths, by the way.
He's trying to go around.
Kudos to this, like, small woman who's standing up to the bodyguards and being like, fuck with me.
What?
Do it.
You're getting in my way.
You're pushing me every single time. Don't you see go all the way when you see a porn, you walk right into it.
Thrash Mia with 20 bits. On the point of non-white people being racist, a Kai Gurley was shot by Asian cops and the Asian community protested in favor of the cops. Ugh.
Nice.
She's a white woman yelling at a Mexican. I think she's racist.
Yeah, why are you being racist?
People on the right will do this thing where they'll act like anyone disagreeing with anyone who's a minority is tantamount to racism because they don't, I want to say they don't understand what racism actually is, but, like, they do. It's like they think people are stupid enough to be like, yeah, that's what racism is, and not, you know, actual racism. Like thinking that certain races are better than others, or that certain races deserve certain rights, or that there's certain qualities intrinsic to certain races. Any of these things, like, that's not the same as me just disagreeing with someone who happens to be a minority. My God.
Racist.
I'm Colombian. Are you stupid?
Are you being racist?
Clearly, why?
Are you racist? I'd rather myself than be racist.
She just said she was Colombian, Caitlin, and you literally used the argument like 10 minutes ago that, like, this person's like, oh, well, I'm Cuban, so I can't be racist. So why doesn't that apply here? Is it because you're incredibly disingenuous and don't actually care if anyone's racist? What a shock.
I'd rather myself than be a racist. I would never treat a Mexican like that. You're disgusting.
Doubt?
Funny thing is, I wouldn't even stand up to these Mexicans. I didn't even notice. Because I don't look
You're a
up to
racist.
by their race.
You're a
Didn't even
racist.
notice.
You're a racist.
I'm racist.
Get out of here, racist. Racist, go home. Racist, go home.
You're telling me to go because I'm racist? Hey, you're the
Honestly, Caitlin deserves to get punched in the face so bad. So bad. At least a milkshake. I really wish one of these people had a milkshake. That would have been nice.
one who's fucking racist.
You're treating a Mexican like shit.
You told me I'm treating a Hispanic minority like shit. I am a Hispanic minority. Get your
Caitlin, once again, inciting a riot. Good job, Caitlin. Cherry Tree Boy with 10 bits. Oh my god, the dudes say after she was Colombian that she's clearly white. Gross. Yep. As Compu, no, she's right. She would treat a Mexican much worse than that. She'd put a Mexican in a cage. Yep.
I got you. You're good. You're good. Yeah. Give me that. I'm gonna take you to a safe spot.
Oh my god, she looks so scared. Good. I want Caitlin to have that look in her eye every time she goes outside for the rest of her life. That's goals.
John, secure that building.
And they have guns. Caitlin owns a gun. I don't know if she's carrying it on her. Her guards definitely do, though.
Secure that building right there. Get out.
Building. Back him up, back him up.
You got someone who's trying to ask you a question. A black woman trying to ask you a question.
Even people in the restaurant are like, hey, fuck you.
Hey, I'm gonna have an elephant attack. Put him Please move.
Trying to ask you a question.
Be the
I want every fascist to feel as scared about being open about their fascism as Caitlin is in this video. That's like country goals right there. Logarth with a bit. Is this the point she gets arrested? She doesn't get arrested in this video. She just runs away.
Get away!
Are we going in here?
It's the safe room. Can I use your safe room? I show you my
Do not
badge.
open. Don't open it.
Thank
Sorry.
you for letting us. I'm calling the vehicle is coming to pick her up.
Okay.
I want this to be the reception Caitlin gets at every college she goes to for the rest of her life.
Back of this restaurant in the workspace, we had to go in here. I am being mobbed. Please leave me alone.
No, she's good. She
Please.
let us. Thank you for letting us.
Please, I appreciate it, but please leave me alone. So they
She's so scared.
Are getting violent with my husband. Where's Justin?
He's out there.
I'm sure they got him. Anyway, I am back here because they are...
That's a weird moment. Where's my husband? Oh, he's out there. Oh, I'm sure he's fine. Doesn't sound like you like your husband very much if you're scared for yourself but not for him, but okay.
Literally trying to fight me. And the police are nowhere to be found. If they would have controlled this, instead of blaming it on me, guess what? They wouldn't be...
It's your fault, Caitlin. It's your fault.
Doing this. The police in our country was actually doing something to stop these people from acting like this wouldn't be happening. But because we have police here that do not do their job, I don't care if they're the conservatives, police, I don't care what they are. Do your freaking job. Trying to get me...
Caitlin, do you think that 5 cops, and it looked like that was the most I saw, it was like 4 or 5 cops at once, are gonna be able to subdue a crowd of 200 people? And if they start attacking the crowd, how do you think that's gonna go for you and the cops? Like, how stupid are you that you think that would go well for you? The cops are doing you a favor by being like, we're not gonna escalate this, you need to leave. Because it would go so much worse for you if they did. Ask Compu with a bit, maybe she's secretly lesbian? I don't know about that.
Me to leave? Look, I walked around campus and this is what they do. I try to leave and this is what they do. Police need to do their job in this country. For the last 100 days, if the police would have done their job in this country, they wouldn't think that they could get away with this.
Caitlin, all they're doing is yelling at you and following you around. They didn't destroy any property. They didn't hurt you. You're just mad. You're just mad they're using their free speech to tell you, fuck off. That's all it is. It's not they're not destroying anything. They're not setting things on fire. They just are yelling at you to leave, which is their right. As Compu with a bit. Oh boy, taking her mask off in a restaurant kitchen. Oh god, she is. I wasn't even thinking about it.
But they are getting away with it. President Donald Trump, defund this school. They want to talk...
I'm a free speech absolutist until people call me names and tell me to leave.
Talk about defunding the police, defund public education, defund public universities, take the funding away from these people. We know they don't have jobs. We know they don't...
Pretty sure state colleges are mostly funded by, you guessed it, the state.
Don't have jobs to pay for it on their own. They're using my tax dollars to come in here and try to fight me. Defund these schools. And while you're at it, defund this campus police as well.
We did it! We did it, folks! Caitlin Bennett says defund the police.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
If we had an irony meter that was like an old-timey thermometer with mercury in it, it would have burst out of the top at this moment. Well, now the cops aren't doing what I want, so now yes, defund the police. This is the best video we've ever watched on this, hands down. This is the greatest video on Chud Watch. If we had a Chud Watch Hall of Fame, this would be the first entrant. This is amazing.
This is where I come, make sure she's good, and I don't want to cross no bad blood with you guys.
Bits for this video. Thank you.
Let's finish off on a good note. Let's take her home, yeah. So, that's the exit, but I'm going to wait for the vehicle to pull up.
Snowflake Caitlin.
That's how the exit, huh? We can go out that way, yeah. Not this door here, but we have to go around this way.
Yeah, that's still my fault? No, this isn't my fault.
Okay, we're not letting anybody in the building, okay? So we're going to take you guys out this way.
Good.
Yeah, right in the face. So let me show you. Okay. You got her anything?
Yep, I got her.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it.
Sean. Yeah, we're in the horn with him. All right, this man, let's go, let's go.
It's my channel. I can literally make a Hall of Fame. I could, couldn't I? Hold on. Let me figure this out. What do I want to do? After this video, we'll figure out how to make a little Hall of Fame.
I got the door. Get in the car.
This is on a level of 1 to 10 of how ridiculous this is. I'm at a 20. This is, I know I keep telling you guys, honestly.
See you in J Neptune, man. Irony, Ben Shapiro and Caitlin Bennett are funnier than Steven Crowder, a professional comedian.
JR exceeded my expectations. I'm incredibly thankful to him. I am taking him everywhere I go. Everywhere I go, JR is going to be there. And I need you guys to support my work at patreon.com/Caitlin Bennett to keep him coming with me. He's a good guy. His business, Rat Pack, Worldwide Security, they're going to be worldwide. Because conservatives need people like JR with them at all times. And that's sad that
If your opinions are so abhorrent that you're being attacked everywhere you go to the extent that you need bodyguards, have you considered you're the problem? Like, again, it said something along the lines of, if you smell shit, you know, everywhere you're going, all day, maybe check the bottom of your own shoes. In this case, probably, Caitlin, check your pants. If everywhere you go, you're being harassed and attacked by people screaming that you're awful, might be your fault.
I even have to freaking say that. It's sad. It's sad that I have to have him here. But he did his freaking job. He got me to safety. He coordinated with everybody. Just huge shout out, JR. I'm so thankful you're here. Shout out to Rat Pack. Honestly, guys. Now I'm going from upset to pleased and happy and just grateful because of him and his team. And shout out to everybody, man. You know, the only way I can keep doing this with him out here, because I'm not stopping. I'm not stopping. The election's coming up. These people are not going to get to me. Patreon.com/Caitlin Bennett. Thank you to everybody.
I'll make a special playlist that's Chud Watch Hall of Fame, and this will be the first one. But I also want almost like a visual, right? Hold on. There's this. Delete. Delete. Can I get some text, and then I'll put, hold on, text. And a new source. Use Google font. I don't know what font to use. Let me pick this out. Chud Watch Hall of Fame. Let me see the different fonts. Sure, that'll do. There a border? Can I put a border on this? Okay, let's just do that, and then we'll make this bigger. Chud Watch Hall of Fame. And then I'll just put, I'll just take a snip of this, and then we'll put it in there. Snip. File, save as, downloads. What? I can't hear you. Oh, yeah, I'll fix it in a sec. Sorry, this part's boring, but I really want to get this in here so I can have this from now on. Where media source, add source, new media source, add source, browse, downloads. Why didn't it show up? Hold on. Downloads. It should just be on there. What the frickin'... Does it have to be a different, like, media type? That's annoying. Give me a sec. Could I just do... No, media... Image. There we go. And source. Browse. There we go. The first entrant to the Chud Watch Hall of Fame. I'll have to adjust sizes as we go, but there we go. And let me do a text so I know what it is, and then it will be good. Caitlin, run out of town. The first entrant into the Chud Watch Hall of Fame. It should be a close-up of her scared face. I'll see if I can find a better image for it, sure. Probably near the end, when she's like in the restaurant. That's pretty good. Oh yeah, that's pretty good too. There we go, that's the one. Okay, let me just change the image. There we go. That's better. Chud Watch Hall of Fame Entrant 1. Caitlin, run out of town. Fantastic. Now I need to make sure I don't overdo it on, like, what gets put in the Chud Watch Hall of Fame, you know? Like, I can't overdo it and be like, oh, every video I laugh at's in the Chud Watch Hall of Fame. It's gotta be up there. It's gotta be, like, amazing. Honestly, like, maybe, like, if we had this when Ben Shapiro had done the WAP reading, that probably would have also been, but I'm not gonna retroactively try and decide what videos deserve to be in the Chud Watch Hall of Fame. This is moving forward, okay? This is moving forward. Should we vote on it? Maybe. Maybe only one a month. That would, like, limit me, and then we can vote on which one wins for the month. That'd be pretty good. Anyway. Oh, let me actually name that Hall of Fame. Hold on. Rename. Chud Watch Hall of Fame. Cool. Now that scene's just there if we ever need it. Live. Back to the normal one. Okay. That was a good one. Thanks for enjoying that with me, everyone. You need to see this. It's a picture of Oregon Governor Kate Brown. Oh, God. Dude, what? Your state's on fire, you dick. What is wrong with people? I swear. Anyway. That's enough of Caitlin Bennett, as hilarious as it is. Are you doing the thing where you go on her site? I will. I will. I'm not going to tell you guys when, though, because if I did, then, you know. Then they'd know. But it'll happen at some point. Okay, so it's time to deal with John Doyle, I think. I don't know if we're going to watch the whole video, because I don't know how much content this is even worthy of. But John Doyle has this title, and the title of this video is California Softens Punishment for Child Predators. Heck off, commie. And what he's going to claim here is that California has basically like made it legal to have sex with a 14-year-old boy or something. Now let me explain what actually happened, because of course everything John says is through about 15 layers of either irony or outright lies. So what happened is California has a standard for statutory rape where if the person is between 14 and 17 and they engage in a inappropriate relationship with someone who is older, let's say someone who is up to 24, because that's how it works. It's a 10-year gap. So between 14 and like 24, or if you're like 15 and 25, up to like 17 and 27, right? California, the law on the books is that in cases such as that, where there's only a 10-year gap and it's a statutory rape situation, you're still going to get charged with statutory rape, obviously, because it's against the law and you can't do that. However, the sex offender registry, you then have the judge have the discretion to say, okay, is this situation worthy of the person being put on the sex offender registry list, right? Now, that's if the offender is a man and the underage person is a woman. The standard, however, was not equal for homosexual relationships. So judges had the availability to say something like, I don't know, let's say there's a situation where there's a 17-year-old and 18 or 19-year-old, something like that. And there's a relationship between those people. Even if the person might get charged with statutory rape, the judge in that case has the discretion to say, okay, but this isn't like a, this is not a situation where this person necessarily needs to be on the sex offender registry. Okay? I do find the fact that it goes all the way back to 14 is very, very questionable, though. I do agree with that. However, if it were two men and they were in a relationship and it was like a 17-year-old and 18, 19-year-old, then the judge has no leeway, and they have to put them on the sex offender registry either way. Now, California just passed a law, or I don't even know if it was passed. It was passed, I don't think it's been signed. I think that's the stage that it's in right now. That basically just brings the definition up to parity. So the same thing that applies to straight situations applies to gay situations. So, again, the law was already that if you're between 14 and 17, then there's that 10-year gap where the judge has leeway to decide whether or not you get put on the sex offender registry. It's just that gay couples didn't have the same exact thing, and it's weird calling them couples. I'm thinking more on the, upper end. Of course, if you're, raping someone who's 14 statutory, or even if they consent, people that young can't consent. You can't consent as a minor. Nonetheless, the judge has the leeway. Now, bear in mind, leeway does not mean the judge is going to say you're not on the sex offender registry. It just means, situation to situation. And I'm generally in favor of anything that gives the judge leeway in sentencing for things like this, or anything, right? Because every situation is going to be different, and it makes sense for the judge to be able to make calls based on the situation that's in front of them. It's the same reason I'm against mandatory minimums for the vast majority of crimes, right? It's just not helpful to the legal system. What about Bob with $5? Yes, I like this Chud Hall of Fame thing. Oh, good, I'm glad. So John Doyle is going to completely misrepresent this and say, next step is they're going to make pedophilia legal. No, John, that's not what's happening. While I might disagree with some of the stuff in the law in the first place, and again, not even the stuff that just got changed, but the idea that there's leeway at all between putting someone on a sex registry, in the extreme situation that this law allows, and this is the absolute worst case situation in this law, if someone has sex with someone and the adult is 24 and the other person is 14, there's no situation where I think that person should not be put on the sex offender registry. Ever. That's statutory rape. It's messed up. It's disgusting. That person should be put on the sex offender registry. And I would imagine 99% of judges are going to agree, even with the fact that they have the leeway not to do so. That's why it gets put up to the judge, because the judge has to decide. But I do understand there's going to be some outdated, weird judges who might say something along the lines of, whatever, I'm not going to put them on the sex offender registry, even though they should be. So John's going to take the extreme of this situation and apply it to the entirety of the law as if that's the common usage when it's not. And once again, the law was already like this. They're just bringing it up to parity, so gay people have the same exact rule of law as straight people in this situation. Because the way the law was written, it basically said, like, they have leeway in doing so in terms of, like, sexual relations that include, like, PIV, right? So that would be, you know, what one might consider intercourse. But, like, what the law would consider sodomy, that wasn't covered. Sodomy was automatically, you get put on a sex offender registry. I think even oral was, like, you get automatically put on a sex offender registry, which not only applies to gay couples, but, like, anyone, right? But again, John's going to frame this as if, oh, they just made it legal for, you know, people to sleep with 14-year-olds. No, they didn't, John. For one thing, it doesn't change anything to the fact that they're still going to be charged with statutory rape, rightfully so. It just gives the judge leeway in certain situations as to whether or not the person needs to register as a sex offender. That's it. That was already the law. It's just making it equal between gay and straight people. It's pretty simple. Now, I agree. They should probably amend this law and make it higher. Like, I could see, I don't know, and this is a complicated issue in the first place, but, like, I could see situations where someone's, like, 17 and their partner's 18, 19, something like that, and them getting caught because a parent's mad or something. And it doesn't seem to me in that situation anyone should be, like, put down as a sex offender. That seems reasonable to me. But the fact that this law goes so far as to stretch back to 14, that's fucked up. I completely agree. But this isn't a new law. This is just making it equal between gay and straight couples, whatever you want to call it. And it's a whole messed up situation. From what I read, it wasn't based on the sexuality of the relationship, but the acts. The judge has leeway with oral and vaginal penetration, just adds anal penetration to the list. Yes, basically. Basically. I thought oral was also on the list of things that they didn't have leeway on, but I guess I'm wrong if that's what you're saying. So Doyle is lying then? Probably. Let's see what he has to say, shall we?
The California State Senate has passed a bill that would allow men who engage in gay sex with minors to escape registering as a sex offender based on the discretion of the judge. And I kid you not, this legislation was introduced by this guy, Scott Wiener.
Again, this isn't like some new thing that they're like, we're gonna make it so you don't have to register as a sex. This is amending a law that already exists and just adding, like, anal penetration to the list of things that are approved on this list. John, if you want to talk about changing this law, I'm all for it. I agree that they need to change it and make it not as young as 14 and not make the span a whole 10 years. But, like, you're completely misrepresenting this already.
Which does not surprise me at all, given his name and appearance. Like, yo, can I get a physiognomy check? For those not familiar, the ancient Greeks theorized that you could accurately infer someone's character from their appearance and aesthetics. This is called physiognomy. And it might sound crazy, then you kind of...
Are you really gonna try and, like, advocate for judging people based on how they look, John? That's not a road I think you want to go down, or me for that matter. Neither of us are the best looking people.
Look at the type of people who are doing things like this, and it sort of starts to make sense. Like, there's something almost inherently left-wing about ugliness, because it
Wow. Why do people think John is a fascist? By the way, here's some ideology that would fit pretty well with the Nazis insofar as thinking that ugly people are evil, or people that I find unattractive evil. Good job, John. You nailed it.
Represents subjectiveness. It represents a sort of aesthetic entropy where there's...
Cherry Tree Boy. Well, now I feel scared when I turn 18 since my boyfriend is 7 months younger than me. Definitely check the laws in your state. Some states have what's effectively called like a Romeo and Juliet law, where if you were in a relationship prior to you reaching the age of majority, then it's considered fine, but some states don't. So definitely look into it. Stone Corbell with 20 bits. Judging someone's life based on their appearance and the way their name sounds is dangerously close to the bones. It really, really is. Hold on. what can we judge based on how this person looks if we're going through this, like, ridiculous nonsense belief that you can judge people based on how they look?
There's no such thing as objective beauty or objective good, and we will make ourselves as ugly as possible to prove that. And that's just a more complicated way of pointing out that. And
John, are you even looking at the ladies in this? Like, what are you talking about? This lady's got mad hot, like, top lesbian vibes. I just want to let you know. As, like, I'm trans, I'm bisexual, I'm just saying, she reminds me a little bit of, what was her name? She was Batwoman. She's got that vibe going.
And we will make ourselves as ugly as possible to prove that. And that's just a more complicated way of pointing out that every leftist who has ever come after me to try to get me deplatformed has been ugly and slug-like, just totally gross, no self-respect. But anyways, this legislation was supposedly crafted on behalf of equal rights for LGBT people and for ending discrimination. So we'll talk about why that's ridiculous, how we got to this point in the first place, what this all means.
John, since you look like a twink, does that mean you're a twink? Just curious.
It's for our country, so do stay tuned.
John Doyle in. Heck off, commie.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Heck Off Commie. I've got some good news and some bad news before we get started. Something very epic and then something very sad. So I'll tell you the epic news first, then I'll tell you the sad news at the end so we can stay relatively high energy throughout the video, but, I'll put up a timestamp so you can skip.
Kill Arna with a 2-month subscription streak. Thanks for your content, Hannah. Thank you. Thank you for subscribing.
The news and get right into the topic if you'd like, but basically, as some of you know, the 2-year anniversary of Heck Off Commie is October 10th, and I've decided that we should do something to celebrate, and so we're going to rent out a venue and have an epic party. It's called Hocktoberfest, because Hock and October, very high IQ branding, but anyways, due to the fact that lots of Antifa-type people would want to sabotage this, we can't give up.
That's true, John. We actually sit in our Antifa headquarters underground in our secret volcano lair, and we go, how can we ruin John Doyle's shitty YouTube meetup? Who has the bike locks?
About any information here, so there's going to be a form in the description that we need you to fill out, and from there we'll send you all the information that you need. So if this is something that you'd be interested in attending, fill out the form. That's the only way that you'll get updates on the epic party, what's happening, when and
Oh boy, Jake and I should go, because, like, we live near John Doyle. You have to fill out a form. Hocktoberfest 2020. Ahoy there, ladies and gentlemen. To celebrate the 2nd anniversary of Heck Off Commie, we're planning an epic party. More information about what this epic party includes will soon be sent to you. But to plan the aforementioned epic party, we need some information from you because of COVID, people that might try to ruin it, etc. We will then be in touch with additional information updates. Email address, are you interested in attending Hocktoberfest 2020 on Saturday the 10th? What major city is closest to you? How far are you willing to travel? Boy, it sure would be a shame if a bunch of people filled out this form with fake information and really screwed up the plans for Hocktoberfest. That sure would be a shame.
where, etc. And to the aforementioned Antifa types, I would advise you to just stay away, because not only do I have a whole team of people who will be vetting the prospective attendees, but I also have a whole team of people doing private security. But
the Caitlyn Bennett technique, and as we saw earlier, that goes so well.
But they're getting paid to cover me and my people, so if you try to pick a fight, unfortunately, I cannot guarantee your safety, as I am not responsible for the actions of other people. But, we'll try to just get you thrown out in a timely fashion, maybe use your head to open the door or something.
That's always a good look. Tell people that you're going to assault them. That's good.
That's a joke. That's a joke. But yeah, if you want to celebrate with me and the boys, fill out the form. It's going to be epic, and it's important. It's important that we do things like that, because if we're not actually engaging...
Honestly, I hope there's a bunch of video of it, because it's probably going to be the most embarrassing YouTube meetup of all time. Can you imagine what John Doyle's audience looks like? It's going to be like a meetup of an incel community. It's going to be truly hilarious.
and networking with each other in person, then we're just a bunch of dudes, you know, watching videos. And being successful as a movement requires more than that. It requires an established infrastructure, and you know, it's a good way to work towards that, doing stuff like this. And it's made possible by you guys, not only by watching and sharing the videos, but especially by signing up for memberships at heckoffcommie.com. So if you're not signed up already, I'd highly recommend it. Not only because it supports the channel, obviously, and allows us to keep doing what we're doing, but also I think it's good for you too, which is why I'm not even asking you to sign up. I know that you'll sign up eventually. I will get you eventually. It's not a matter of if, but rather when. Because, you know, back when I was watching conservatives on YouTube, I used to want to know, oh, you know, what books are they reading? I want to submit my own video ideas to them, and I want to ask them questions directly, and I want to talk to other people in the audience. And so when I made the website, I made that possible. Like, you can do all of that on the platform. I think it's a really good platform, and I'm going to start adding a lot more exclusive content to it as well. I'll experiment with some different things, but we already have a good amount of stuff on there right now, and you know, without that we couldn't do what we do, and it's only going to keep going. And a lot of people think, oh well, it's just videos, that's not going to change anything, and I can understand that, but it's really a lot more than that, because it's influence. And if you agree with even 75% of what we talk about on this channel, then that should give you optimism, because not only do we reach tens of thousands of people every week, but we've got people in local and even state level governments throughout the country. We've got people with a lot more clout than we currently have who are influenced by us. And I can even tell you for a fact that one of the best speeches at the RNC was at least partially influenced by a video from this channel. I don't say this to be conceited, you know, like Trump. I say this not in a braggadocious way, but I say this because we are growing stronger and more influential every day. And mainly...
Does he really believe that? Does he really think someone from the RNC speakers list knows about his piddly 175,000 subscriber channel and used it to influence their speech? Wow. Subway employee John Doyle affecting national politics. That's not delusional.
Because I saw a comment recently that said, oh, John, this isn't doing anything. You have to run for office. And I was quite off-put by that. I was like, hey, you're not doing anything, man, you know? The point is that we are doing something, and we're doing it better than most other people, and the best part...
Oh, you guys can't see this. Why couldn't you see this? Did you not? You didn't tell me. Why didn't you tell me you can't see this? Hold on, give me a sec. There we go.
Part is that we're doing it with integrity. We're not backed by these big donors. We're backed by the people who watch the videos. Like, I work for you guys, and we even have better engagement than the people who are backed by the big donors. And then occasionally, you know, I'll take a sponsor, but even then, like, I don't change what I'm talking about, and I never will. That's why we're effective, because we're real. And very few other people can say that. But I've noticed that the people who can say that are always the people who are the most effective. And it might seem silly because we're doing this on the same platform that has funny cat videos and stuff like that, but it doesn't matter because we're still doing it. So it's a very exciting time. I'm optimistic about the future, and I have it on
YouTube, come for the cat videos, stay for the fascists.
authority that we should all be optimistic about the future. So support the channel if you can. Fill out the form in the description, because I would love nothing more than to celebrate with you guys, and I'm excited for the future. Speaking of the future, forgot this one. I'm going to Alaska later this week to visit a friend of mine. So after that, I'll be on the road covering something for you guys, but it will be a short while before the next video. But you can follow my Twitter for updates. So that's the good news. That's the epic news. All because some guy was just like, dude, this doesn't do anything. Had to go off a little bit.
Hold on, I gotta turn this air up. I'm dying.
Determined gamer moment, optimistic gamer moment. But anyways, we'll go over the details of the legislation now, but I do have to preface by saying that I really don't have anything personally against gay people or
press X to doubt
LGBT people, but that doesn't mean that I can't criticize their actions. And I have a lot of gay fans, and I've spoken with many of them, and they all agree with me on the vast majority of things, including...
Do you think John's gonna mention that this is an amendment to a bill that already existed and already was made law, that already applied to straight couples? Or is he going to act like this is something that only applies to gay people?
most of what I say about even LGBT related things, believe it or not. And the reason that I bring this up isn't because I'm like, please don't cancel me, but rather because the Overton window of discourse in this country surrounding social issues has exiled social conservatives whose opinions would have been mainstream just 20 years ago and has labeled them as these hateful people. And so I don't want anyone watching to think that I'm coming at this from a bad place or that I hate people or that I have ill will towards them, because I really don't. But people like to say I do because it's easier than breaking down what I'm actually saying. So anyway.
John, what you're actually saying are 99% dog whistles. You don't actually say what you mean. That's kind of how crypto-fascists work. We get it, though. We aren't stupid.
Anyways, a lot of people online have been saying, oh, well, this bill legalizes pedophilia, and that's just not true, but it's not exactly something that's moving in the opposite direction from that. And the problem is that if we say, well, it legalizes pedophilia, and then people are like, oh, it does, and then they look it up, they find out that that's not the case, well, it's, it might make them let their guard down. But what it actually
you're gonna misrepresent it anyway, would be my guess.
It does is still pretty bad. So basically, the law in California right now says that if you commit statutory rape, which for those unfamiliar is when an adult engages in sexual activity with a minor, you will at the very least be registered as a sex offender unless it was vaginal and she's over the age of 14 and you are within 10 years of her age. Remember that we still subscribe to the archaic belief on this channel that only girls have vaginas. So in those cases, it's up to the judge whether...
John, I really don't have time to deal with the trans stuff today. Can we just stick to you misrepresenting other things? That'd be great.
To register you as a sex offender, which means that if you're 25 and you have vaginal sex with a 14-year-old girl, then you're a sex offender. But if you're 23, well, then it's up to the judge to decide if you're a sex offender. So this law is...
Yeah, I'd imagine 99% of the time the judge is going to call that sex offender.
Already pretty questionable, but it does actually...
I agree. It's questionable, John, and that's something we can agree on. The law as written is questionable, but the fact that it now applies to gay people equally to straight people isn't somehow more questionable. It's the equal amount of questionable. You get that, right? Like, they're both weird and need to be amended, but one isn't weirder than the other. They're equally questionable. But it seems to me that you're going to be like, but now that it applies to gay people, it's somehow worse. Uh-huh. You don't have anything against gay people, huh, John? You just don't like when the law applies equally to them. Interesting.
Actually make a little bit of sense, and it's actually for that reason that this new bill is so ridiculous, and so we'll get into that in a second. But basically, what this new bill is saying, along with removing all mentions of he or she from the current law to make way for the new gender-neutral the person...
Yeah, that'd be a good way to write the law. Why would you gender something that doesn't need to be gendered in that case? Why?
Is that now we're including non-vaginal sex as well, because only including vaginal sex discriminates against LGBT people.
It does. I know you're saying it sarcastically, but saying something sarcastically doesn't make it not true automatically. You get that, right?
Because they're more likely to engage in oral, anal, or digital sex and not vaginal sex, and so the law is discriminating against them. So now the judge will have the discretion in all cases involving minors over 14 and adults within 10 years of them who have sodomized them, done stuff orally with them, or digitally with them, which doesn't mean like with technology. It just means with your hands, digital coming from the Latin word digitus, which just means finger. See, you learn something new every day on this channel. So anyways, under the new law, a 24-year-old man could sodomize a 14-year-old boy, and a California judge would get to decide if that man should be considered a sex offender. Now,
and you understand, John, that 99% of judges outside of some crazy person is going to be like, that's effed up. They need to be on the sex offender list. Why does John think that discretion means automatically that the judge is going to decide not to put them on the sex offender list? And we already talked about this, John. We talked about the fact that, yes, this law is effed up either way. It needs to be amended. It's way too lax. When you could have, like, a 24-year-old, like, sleeping with a 14-year-old and not getting put on the sex offender list, that's messed up. I agree. But it's equally messed up if it's a same-sex situation or an opposite-sex situation. It doesn't matter. That's irrelevant to the moral discussion we're having about what we should put enshrined in the law.
Now, let's jump back to the old law. The reason that the judge would have the discretion to make an adult male register as a sex offender or not in cases of vaginal sex is because that can and often does result in pregnancy. And if that young woman becomes pregnant, it would be much harder for that man to find and hold a job if he's a registered sex offender.
Oh, God. Really, John? You think that's the reason? You think that's the only reason they give judges discretion? Really? That's incredibly stupid.
Which means that
MW1642 with a subscription. Thanks. Oh, with gifting a subscription. Woo! Thanks for gifting a sub.
It would be harder for him to provide for the mother and for the child. And
John, if that was the intent, why wouldn't the law say something along the lines of they have discretion if the minor is pregnant? Because they can write that in the law, but that's not what they wrote. So clearly that's not the intent. You can't just make up whatever intent you want.
Again, the judge gets to make that decision, so it's not as though they're just totally off the hook, but we can at least kind of understand the reason for that. Now, the problem with that translating into this new law is that, speaking very frankly, sodomy doesn't create human life. It actually...
Again, you're assuming for some reason, and the for some reason is because you think it makes your argument stronger and it makes you think that you can discriminate against gay people, which you can't. Sorry. You think it makes your argument stronger when it's clear, based on the wording of the law, that that wasn't the original intent of the law, otherwise they would have said it, right? Because it still would have applied in situations where the minor didn't get pregnant. So why would they write it in such a way if it were a case that they were only wanting that to apply in cases of pregnancy? Pretty clear that that's not the intent, John.
Actually decreases human life because it results in STDs and different cancers developing, but that's a topic for another time. The point now being that sex between a man and a woman will never be equal to sex between two men.
Oh, there it is. There it is. I could end the video here. What else do I need to say?
Because sex between a man and a woman has the potential to create human life.
And, John, people do not primarily have sex to have children. They just don't. They don't. It's not the primary reason people have sex. And I know you can talk about, like, well, the sex drive that you have is driven by a blah, 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 blah. That's not what I'm talking about. People are not like, oh yeah, we need to get it on right now because I want to get you pregnant. Most of the time that's not the case. It is for people who are trying to conceive, but most people aren't thinking like that, John. That's not how it works.
And they'll say, well, you know, sometimes people are infertile, so there's really no difference, and it doesn't matter because it is designed to produce that outcome, and the vast majority of the time it will. Whereas
what? The vast majority of the time it will? John, no. The vast majority of sexual encounters, even without protection, do not result in pregnancy. What? For one thing, it needs to be a situation where the copulation happens in such a time period that the sperm cells have an opportunity to implant in an egg, to fertilize it rather, and then it also needs to implant that fertilized egg on the uterine wall successfully. Most of the time it does not, even in cases where the egg does get fertilized. What are you talking about? John, are you stupid? Do you know anything about how, like, fertility and conception works? You think the majority of the time people have unprotected sex, it results in a baby? What? Guess that wasn't covered in Subway sandwich school.
As that will never...
Let me put it in a metaphor that you'll understand, John. Okay, so let's say someone has a big old Italian sub, and you want to inject it with your mayonnaise, and then you want to put it in the toaster. Most of the time, the sub isn't going to come out of the oven filled with a baby. Not a perfect metaphor, but I think it still hones in on sort of life experiences that you, 21-year-old Subway employee John Doyle, will understand.
Happen as a result of two men sodomizing each other. And, you know, we can get into the high IQ Aristotelian arguments from natural law. We can get into the lower IQ. It's Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. Gosh damn it. But this is just the reality of human beings.
John, that's not the intent of the law, though. Otherwise, the law would say something to the effect of, in the case of the copulation resulting in a pregnancy, then the judge has the discretion to allow the person not to go on the sex offender list so as to make it easier for them to provide for the child. But that's not what it says. It's not what it says. Not to mention, if you're being charged with the crime of statutory rape anyway, let me see, in California, is statutory rape a felony? Statutory, probably spelled that wrong, rape, California. Do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do, do-do-do, do-do-do-do. Is it a felony? In course, the minor is not more than 3 years older or 3 years younger is guilty of a misdemeanor, so that if it's within 3 years, it's a misdemeanor. Any person who engages in an act of unlawful who is more than 3 years is guilty of a misdemeanor or a felony. So in some cases, depending upon the age, and I'm guessing that's another discretion thing, it can be a felony anyway. And it's also really difficult for felons to get jobs. So, like, your own argument doesn't even make sense based on how the law is, John. If it were the case that they're like, well, we better give leeway so this statutory rapist can provide for the child, which, by the way, is not at the forefront of someone's mind when they're making a ruling on this. Because if someone's being charged with it, chances are they're not going to have a further relationship with the person that they committed statutory rape upon. Like, what is this idea that this has to do with pregnancy? Where are you getting this idea, John? And your own ass is not a source. Just for the record.
And it's totally uncontroversial. And it's because of that that this new law is problematic, because the old law said that if you do anything sexual with a young girl, you're a sex offender. Unless she's 14 or older, you're within 10 years of her, and you two had sex, like, then maybe the judge gets to decide that you're not a sex offender, depending on the circumstances. She might be pregnant. We talked about why that is. Because it can—
No, that's not what the law says, John. You are completely leaving out the fact that you are inserting the pregnancy thing with absolutely no evidence that that's what the law is intending to do. Period. You can't just make shit up. What is wrong with you?
And results in the pregnancy. But now it's saying, no, that discriminates against LGBT people. The judge—
Because it does.
Should have discretion for any type of sexual activity. And what that says is that the person should have the opportunity to not register as a sex offender, not because they might have to get a job to provide for a child, but because—
John, if someone's already getting charged with a felony or even misdemeanor statutory rape, they're already going to have problems getting a job, John. What universe do you live in where this is what you think the law was intended to be about? Like, you can't just say stuff. Of course, the people who watch his channel are going to believe him because they're idiots. But, like, how hard is it to look this up and realize, oh, John's full of shit? Like, he's just saying that this is about pregnancy when nowhere in the law does it say that. Like, what? Why do you think it's like this, John? Why do you think it's okay to lie about the intent of a law?
Because maybe molesting the child really wasn't that big of a deal. That's literally what this is about. There is no other reason. It is about equating heterosexuality with homosexuality on a metaphysical level. And
because they're both copulation, right? And if you are like, let's say you're let's say you're a 24-year-old man and you're sleeping with a 24-year-old, or sorry, with a 14-year-old girl, that's just as abhorrent as if it's a same-sex couple, or if it's like different. Let's say, for instance, it's a 24-year-old woman and it's a 14-year-old boy. Same thing. They're all equally abhorrent, John. What is this standard where you're like, oh, I don't know. I was a little uncomfortable when it was straight, but now that it's gay, it makes me feel icky, so it deserves a worse punishment. This is childish behavior. At least I'm being consistent. I can be consistent and say, this law is screwed up no matter how it is, and no matter if it's discriminatory or not, specifically because it gives way too much leeway. That's consistency. We would agree on that if you weren't like, ew, but the fact that now it applies to gay people is ickier because I think gay sex should be punished more. Like, dude, no. I'm right there with you. If you want to start a thing that it's like, this law needs to be changed, Yes, I agree. But the fact that it just now applies equally to, like, heterosexuals and homosexuals isn't even close to the problem. You're completely missing the point. The problem is that it gives so much leeway that you can have, again, someone committing statutory rape on a 14-year-old and getting away with it without getting put on a sex offender registry. That's not cool, regardless of the sexualities of the people involved. You're so hung up on the gay thing that you've completely missed the forest for the trees, and instead you're going to focus your attack on this one thing when it's not the problem. Baja Blast. Oh god, yeah, I'm not reading that during this.
And every other initial in the acronym as well. It's not about equality under the law. They already had that. It's about reflecting their belief that the metaphysics of homosexuality are identical to the metaphysics of heterosexuality.
Who's talking about fucking metaphysics, John? This is about the law. Stop. We're not talking about, like, oh, let's talk about the metaphysical implications on the jurisprudence of this law. John, we're talking about laws that talk about sex offender registries for sleeping with minors, right? And we can talk about how it's wrong, but making this about the gender of the people that are engaging in this illegality is not relevant. Period.
Or in other words, that there's no significant difference between the two. Which makes sense because in their worldview, all expressions of sexual desire are good and should be normal, so long as there's consent. But they don't define consent the same way that you and I would, right? Their definition of consent is based in power, not rational capacity. In other words, they believe that in their communist utopia, adults should be able to have sex with children. Since
that the John Doyle has become the $6 million man because the leap he just made was superhuman. We've made a law that's very, very questionable apply equally to both heterosexuals and homosexuals. This means they want people to sleep with children. Nope. Not what that means, John. Not even close.
The power dynamic between adults and children would be gone since everyone would be equal, right? That's what they believe. So you can see what happens when we go from objective morality to consent-based morality to, well, what does consent even mean? It's about normalizing.
No one's doing that. You can't just be like, well, what does consent even mean? No, John, no one is saying what does consent even mean. No one has said that here. What are you talking about? And again, I agree. The law itself, as it was written originally, and even now with the amendment that it makes it, like, equitable between, like, homosexual and heterosexuals, really, really questionable. Pretty fucked up. They need to change it. I agree. But making this, like, a gendered issue is so stupid and off base, and no one's gonna get behind you on that. Like, you need to be like, hey, regardless of who the people are in these sorts of situations, regardless of the sexuality of the people involved, this is messed up and this needs to change. The avenue of attack here is so telling because it doesn't seem like you really give a shit about, like, the actual children involved and who are being taken advantage of here. You just care that it's giving leeway to homosexuals, the same leeway that was being given to heterosexuals. And it's so messed up. Your priorities are in the fucking dirt. Like, what is wrong with you? Let's get together and just agree. The law needs to be changed. It doesn't matter their sexuality. Don't come down here and be like, I didn't really mention this or care about this before. But now that it involves the gays, it scares me, so it's bad, and it's gonna lead to pedophilia being legalized. Ridiculous! You are such a jackass, John!
It's about marching down the field. It's not about equality. The law already applied equally to everyone, regardless of sexual orientation. If it's
No, it didn't! It did not! Because guess what? Homosexuals, in most situations, considering most are going to be cis, can't engage in vaginal intercourse with each other. And John's about to say, perhaps, I don't know if he will, perhaps he's going to say some dumb shit where he's like, well, it applied equally to everyone. You just have to be gay and sleep with someone with a vagina. Like, John, stop being so fucking obtuse. It's very clear that that makes it a non-equal law because it doesn't apply to people in sexual situations equally. My God.
23-year-old gay man had sex with a 14-year-old girl, he'd have the...
There we go, and there it is. John, really? You can't be this stupid. You cannot be this absolutely obtuse. You know what you're saying is bullshit. Come on.
Opportunity to not be registered as a sex offender, just like if a 23-year-old straight man sodomized a 14-year-old boy, he would be put on the list regardless of sexual orientation, because it's not about your sex.
John, do you think there are a lot of gay men committing statutory rape on young girls, or vice versa, straight men committing statutory rape on, like, young boys? Really? Do you think that that's something that happens enough that you need to bring it up? Or is it just a really dumb argument you're making to try and be like, where are my stupid glasses? Here we go. Actually, libtards, the law applied equally because if a gay person committed crimes against a girl, it would have been the... No. John, come on. You know that that's a stupid-ass argument. You know this. God, he's such a joke.
Sexual orientation is about your actions, but they don't care about equality under the law. They care about...
Yes, we do! You don't care! Making up your bullshit excuses. John, it's very clear that someone who's homosexual, if they're committing this crime, is going to commit it against someone of the same gender as them, right? So, of course, the law will only be equitable when the law applies to both situations equally. Pretty simple.
Special privileges that accommodate themselves. They care about having their specific proclivities accommodated by the law, which is...
Specific proclivities? John, being gay is not a proclivity. It's literally just who they are. Any more than you being straight is a proclivity. It's not just something that, like, you happen to prefer. It's literally what you're attracted to. It's something that's immutable, right? This is not complicated.
Which is why they're saying, well, when LGBT people molest children, they can't always do it vaginally, so it's not fair to not give them the chance to not be sex offenders. In other words, this law seeks to ease the plight of the child predator, not protect children.
John, no. This amendment to a law is to make it equitable. I agree, once again, and I don't know how many times I can repeat this in this video. I agree the law should be changed. I agree it gives too much leeway, and the amount of, like, 10 years is too much. I agree. Nonetheless, the fact that it now applies equally to homosexuals, as it always has to heterosexuals, is fine. That's not the problem with this law. The problem is the law itself, which does need to be changed. But instead of attacking that, you're going to act like this is somehow an attack on children any more so than the law already is. This is one thing we could almost agree on, John. If you want to, like, and you and me want to get together and form a march, and we'll fly to California, and I'll march hand in hand with fascist John Doyle over changing this stupid law, great. But if you're gonna sit here and try and make it like an anti-gay message because you don't like that the law is now seeing the two groups equally, you're just an asshole. You don't care about children. You care about promoting a message and using, like, the scare of child predators to act as though the left is moving towards legalizing pedophilia or something. It's ridiculous. It's like borderline QAnon shit. It's so stupid.
And you might be scratching your head about that example that I just gave to prove the point, where the straight man sodomized the little boy. You might be thinking, well, now, wouldn't that make him gay? No, not according to the left. Now what they're doing is separating homosexuality from pedophilia. They're trying to rebrand it as its own sexual orientation. And the reason...
No. John. Someone can be a homosexual pedophile or someone could be a heterosexual pedophile, or someone could be a bisexual pedophile. It is what it is. People have preferences. It's fucked up. And if those people act on those preferences, they need to be arrested and put in prison, because you cannot have a minor consent. Period. And using a TEDx talk, which, by the way, John, you understand anyone can speak at TEDx, right? It's different than TED. Have you looked at the list of really, really ridiculous TEDx talks? Please do. Like, it's pretty simple. The vast majority of people are on the same page about this. No. People do not think it's okay for pedophiles to act on their pedophilia. Like, I recognize that there are some people who, for whatever reason, are attracted to children. That's fucked up. And I feel bad for those people. But my patience and, like, how I feel bad about their, like, feelings stops the second they act on them. Because you cannot engage in activities with a child like that. You cannot. They cannot consent. Period. And 99.9% of people agree on this, John. This is not something that as a society we're having some, like, complicated conversation on. People understand inherently pedophilia acted upon is wrong. I've done videos on this channel where I've talked about, like, people who are into lolly and how I think that's messed up and how it's basically just pedophilia with extra steps, right? We all agree, John, pedophilia is disgusting and messed up. I don't understand what else you want to do about this, right? It's already illegal. I agree this law in particular is messed up and it needs to be changed. But making this somehow about gay people is just missing the point entirely.
The reason for that is throughout LGBT culture, their literature, their art, their movies, and especially their behavior, for whatever reason, there is an extremely difficult and inconvenient recurring motif of preying upon and sexualizing children. I would like to talk more about this here, but I don't think I can because it's a very sensitive topic. Maybe you can ask me about it on the website or something.
Are you seriously using this picture, which is probably
its own sexual orientation behavior? The reason for that is throughout LGBT, extremely difficult and inconvenient recurring motif of preying upon and sexualizing.
These are this kid's dad, you fucking weirdo. Why are you sexualizing the fact that this dad is kissing his kid? And I get it. I'm not like a kiss family on the mouth person, but there are families that do that. Why are you sexualizing this kid being with his dads at a pride parade, you sick fuck?
Children. I would like
MMO addicted with 10 bits. So fun fact, not really fun, more depressing and making me want to KMS. Around here, especially in rural areas, people really hate gays. But if a priest F's a little boy, no big deal, priests sin too, but God forgives them. The victim is just wanting attention. Yeah, people are sick.
I'd like to talk more about this here, but I don't think I can because it's a very sensitive topic. Maybe you can ask me about it on the website or something. But I will say that if you are going to remove morality from society and leave
the leaps in this video, he's not the $6 million man. He's the Incredible Hulk jumping through Arizona in the desert.
Nothing left except divine logic by which to be governed.
Divine logic. Yes, John, that's a great call. Let's go by biblical morality. That'll go well.
Then eventually, you will be able to rationalize every behavior, including the sexual exploitation of children. And not coincidentally, as our society has lost its morality, we're seeing the academics and intellectuals come to explain to us why, well, actually, it's okay to sexually exploit children. It's even good for them. You disagree? Source, please.
You can't just say things, John. You can't just make shit up and act like this is some sort of, like, academic consensus. Oh, if we're just making stuff up. Oh, wow. Isn't it weird how people on the right are saying it's okay to have sex with children? How horrible if we're just making stuff up. I guess I can do the same. Great.
Please, do you have a study that proves sexualizing children is bad? Where's your peer-reviewed citation? Yeah.
The only people I've ever heard say shit like this are like weird right-wing incel weebs. Those are not people on the left, John. Maybe rethink your argument.
How compelling. This is where we are right now, and it's getting worse.
Stephen J. Neptune, man, with 10 bits. I've seen multiple leftist YouTubers come across multiple leftists on social media, and not a single one worth a damn has ever wanted to normalize pedophilia, not even tankies, and they defend the USSR. Agree. Complete straw man. He's making stuff up. And the funny thing is, too, he's like, we need to go back to biblical morality. Bud, do you really want to go there? I've read the Bible. Like, Mary was like 14 when God impregnated her. Now, in fairness, God is much older than Mary, so he would definitely get put on the sex offender list. But nonetheless, that's the morality you want to return to? Because the Bible doesn't say anything about not being able to, like, marry people of a certain age or the age of majority. At best, like, at the time, people were like, well, you gotta wait till they reach womanhood. And to them, womanhood was, like, when they get their first period or whatever. Like, John, this is not the avenue you want to go down, bud. The Bible is not a good source for morality. Like, for instance, in the Bible saying things like, oh, if you assault a woman, then you have to marry her. And by effect, she has to marry you. So women are forced to marry their rapists and biblical morality. Like, let's not do this, John. You don't want to go down this road. MMO addicted with 10 bits. Let's go to the biblical morality and medieval morality. Old dudes marrying 13, 14-year-olds as soon as they bleed. Yeah.
Think about where we were 20 years ago, 5 years ago, compared to where we are now.
Oh no, gay people are accepted, and trans people being accepted is a cultural conversation? The horror.
We keep ceding ground to these people. It's not going to end well for us, which is why it's important that we keep...
I hope it doesn't end well for you guys. I wish you'd shut up. That'd be great.
Keep our morality and our convictions, because ultimately, and here's something that gives me great optimism for the future, no coalition of people who promote degenerate, unhealthy lifestyle, nihilism, obesity, ugliness, etc. No coalition...
Ugliness. John, people can't determine if they're ugly. Like, that's not very nice to ugly people.
You know, people like that could ever be sustainable.
I'm down almost 30 pounds, by the way. Fun fact. My diet's been going well.
Let alone successful in the long run, which means that it's our job to stay disciplined, to resist the vices of modern culture. Don't let them make you numb. Resist the drugs, the porn, the sedation of modern life. Be the man that your grandfather or even great-grandfather was. Or maybe if...
No thanks. Back in my day, we didn't let people use the same water fountain because of the color of their skin.
He wasn't a good guy, then be...
Hello, Daddy Sume. Welcome to the chat.
Be the man who would have fit in with that generation of men.
My wife doesn't go to work, and if dinner's cold, I beat her. That's the kind of people you want to be, John. I noticed John Doyle. I'm gone again. We're almost done. This
why it's important for us to have influence and to build networks. And that actually gets us into the sad news.
John, I agree. Let's be like our grandparents and great-grandparents. Let's kill Nazis en masse. Yes, we finally agree. Hooray! We did it. We agree with John Doyle on something.
Which I learned yesterday, because someone who is familiar with the people who were in Portland a couple weekends ago reached out to me and told me that apparently Aaron Danielson, who was targeted, stalked, and executed by an Antifa member...
Antifa member? John, there's no such thing as Antifa as an organization. You can't be a member of Antifa. Being Antifa just means you're anti-fascist. Ask Compu, we gonna do the liberal versus conservative video this stream? It has a crazy MAGA lady? Maybe. I don't know.
In cold blood, was actually a big fan of the channel.
Either way, I'll get to it eventually.
The big supporter of Heck Off Commie, and I guess that the guy who was with him when he died also was, and so, you know, I'll be reaching out to him sometime soon, but, like, hearing that was incomprehensibly humbling. And that was one of the moments where everything, like, really became real to me. Not only the channel and the influence that we have, but also, like, the reality of the situation that we're in.
Shitbag who goes somewhere to try and fuck with protesters gets shot. What a shock.
Like, not only was he a good God-fearing patriot, but he was...
He's not anymore, is he?
Also, like, one of us. I mean, you know, most of us are good, God-fearing patriots too, but you get what I'm saying. It just really took the wind out of me to hear that. And so we're actually going to get a picture of him or something for the studio so that we can make sure that he's not just a headline or a talking point, but he's like a real...
His name was Robert Paulson. His name was Robert Paulson. Hey, I've seen this one. It ends really great. Good job, fascists. Daddy Sume with a bit. One of my followers was murdered because he was a shitbag. I feel proud.
Person with a face and with conviction and with love for his country, and all of that was taken from him by someone who is now also dead. But I would imagine that Aaron Danielson is probably in a much better place now.
Yes, I'm sure the anti-fascist person is in hell. Meanwhile, the person supporting police officers who kill people because of the color of their skin, I'm sure God's hanging out with him. Bad news, Doyle. They're both just dead. I hate to break it to you. That's how it works. They're both just dead.
A good, pious man versus the man who murdered him in cold blood, who's probably in a not-so-good place as of right now. Not for me to decide, but I'd imagine that such is the case.
It's not for me to decide, but I sure am gonna... I'm gonna wallow in the fantasy of my enemies being tortured for eternity. Genius. If you have to fear your God, he might be the bad guy. Also, another fun fact, not fun at all, please end my suffering. One of our most popular priests, priests about a black man during a nationally televised mass in 2009. Oh, he used the N-word. Yikerinos. Also, Hannah, you and Jake need to watch this guy's series. Don't be a Rickroll. Don't do it. Oh, boy. Okay, I'll save it for something else. Let's do other bookmarks.
And that's the ultimate state of this conflict. We will win because we have good on our side. And if we...
No, you don't, bud. Sorry.
If we don't win here, then we will win in the end because we've got goal line defense up there, and I think a lot...
Great, you know what? That sounds good. John, how about you all just stop being fascists? And then you can tell us off when you die and you go to heaven and we go to hell. Great. Sounds good. It's a plan. That's a plan. Why even waste your time trying things here, John? Since we're all gonna be shown that we're wrong when we die and definitely there's an afterlife. So great. Stop it. Get some help.
A lot of people are going to be surprised to learn that the true standard of good is a much higher bar to meet than the one set in California.
God's standard of good is literally doing whatever you want and then just being like, I accept Jesus Christ. Like, Hitler was a Christian, right? So, Hitler's probably in heaven if there is an afterlife and it's the Christian one. Like, the standard for God is, like, real simple. It's just like, sure, I'll simp for you, God. And that's it. Then you go to heaven. That's the standard.
Hey guys, if you like this video, guess what I'm going to ask you to do? Is it A?
Oh boy, John Doyle. Trash as always. Hi, John Doyle. If any John Doyle fans made it to the end of the video, I doubt it. You've probably already downvoted or made a snarky comment and left. Well, welcome to the channel. John Doyle is a fascist. Please stop listening to him. He's also a Subway employee who is not someone I would take advice from, especially considered what happened to Jared. And that's it. You know, have a good day. I'll save this. Oh, I have it saved. But this is a 25-minute video, and I've already been... How long have I been going for? I've been going for 2 hours, 45 minutes. So I'll save this for... I promise you, I might need a reminder, but I will do this Monday. I will do this video Monday, but it's 25 minutes long, and I want to focus on some shorter videos. Because we only have, you know, 45 minutes to an hour left. Stephen J. Neptune, man. The true hero has to let you know out loud that he's the hero, doesn't let his actions speak for him. In every movie, Superman and Batman say, I'm the good guy. True. What else do we have? Elliot Hulse. We already watched the Caitlyn Bennett Hall of Fame video. Tate. I kind of feel like Tate. Let's do some Tate, shall we? What should we do from Tate? Tate on being heterosexual. This should be a good one. Tate's gonna have strong feelings on being heterosexual.
I'm a heterosexual man, and that means I like to have sex with girls. I'm a man who likes to have sex with women. Sometimes, heaven forbid, I like to have sex with more than one woman at a time. Sometimes there's two, sometimes there's three. And when I say that to people, I'm a man who likes to have sex with lots and lots of different women. People will get offended instantly.
I doubt that. I don't really care, Tate. I think your personality's embarrassing, and the fact that you feel the need... Here's the difference. If you want to go out and, like, sleep with people, and that's something that you can achieve consensually with enthusiastic partners, I'm happy for you. But if half of your personality is, guess how many women I bang, bro, I'm gonna be concerned for you, right? It just comes off as incredibly insecure. Like, someone who's secure in who they are and their lifestyle doesn't constantly feel the need to be like, guess what, bro? I sleep with tons of women. Like, it's fine. That's fine. Who cares? Do you. As long as all your partners are consensual, which I doubt they were based on how Tate behaves. But nonetheless, an imaginary person who's like Tate but not an absolute evil person. Like, great. Do you. Who cares? Daddy Sume, Tate, the most homoerotic douchebag misogynist who protests far too much.
I'm a sexist. I hate women. I'm a misogynist. I'm a bad...
Well, Tate, the reason they say that is not because you sleep with a lot of women. Like, there are plenty of people, I'm sure, who sleep with multiple women, or multiple men for that matter, who aren't sexist, right? You're sexist because of the other things you say about women, because you've actively talked about hitting women who disagree with you, because you have actively talked about how you think women are stupider than men. You've talked about, like, how you think women and their job is to just, like, suck your dick and do what you say, and that's it. That's what makes you a sexist, not just sleeping with a bunch of women. Tate 100% paid hookers to have a 3-foursome. He definitely didn't get that on force of personality alone. I don't know. Tate goes up to a club in like a Lamborghini or something. I can see him. I think saying prostitution is going too far, right? Like, I can see him getting a VIP room at a club, getting bottle service, and then, like, with that influence of his money, getting some people who are attracted to that kind of thing to come and want to sleep with him. I'd believe that. That's not necessarily prostitution, though. In fact, I respect prostitution a lot more than that, but that's just a personal preference.
Bad person because I'm a man who likes to have sex with women. Since when does that make me a bad person? Since the dawn
He still has a charisma modifier of -3. True.
of human time.
I think you're being generous. Wait, you actually, how would you get a -3 charisma modifier? It goes by, like... Oh, no, you're right. It'd have to be... Let's see. He'd have to be 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Ooh, he'd have to have a 4 charisma. That would suck.
The only reason humans went from a small tribe of a couple thousand to populating the planet with billions is because people fucked. The reason you are watching this video right now...
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Oh, I know you weren't being negative on prostitution. I was just saying, like, I respect that more so than, like, if you're like, ooh, look at that guy over there. Yeah, I shouldn't even say that. People are allowed to do whatever they want. I just find it a little vapid to be like, ooh, that guy has bottle service. I'm gonna go over there and hang out with him so I can get alcohol and sleep with him. I don't know. People can do what they want as long as they're consenting. I don't care. I shouldn't be judgmental on that.
Point in the history. A man fucked a woman.
MMO addicted with 10 bits. I mean, literally animals have higher charisma than Tate, so...
The reason I'm here, that's the reason you're here, that's the reason YouTube exists, and all these cities and all these things around the world exist because people fuck, a man and a woman. So since when is it a bad thing? So I say this and say, there's nothing wrong with men having sex with women, this is the reason we exist. Then they say, yeah, but you want to have sex with lots of women. So, why shouldn't I? Show me another point in history when men didn't have sex with lots of women. Show me a point in history when men did not have sex with multiple women. Women being promiscuous is a completely different issue. I've discussed it.
And this is the problem, Tate. You're not being equitable with your wanting people to be able to sleep with others, right? Like, if you want men to sleep with tons of women, but women aren't supposed to sleep with tons of men, where are all these women coming from, Tate? Like, what? That doesn't even make sense logistically. Daddy Sume says, well, yes, most cute animals have charisma of 20 or something. Have you seen baby animals? Have you seen puppies, kittens?
In a lot of my videos, it's a completely different issue because women can get...
Hold on, I gotta tweet at Jake. Sorry, dead air.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
MMO Addicted with 10 bits. I mean, a swarm of spiders has higher charisma than Tate. Why are you mentioning puppies and kittens? Is Jake streaming tonight? I don't know. I haven't saw him on Twitter. I just realized because, again, we did the D&D session last night, which was really good. And I just got a spell that lets me turn the Hartnell alive, basically. And I just realized that I'm already carrying a really, really expensive gem. Like, you need a diamond worth 10,000 gold. And I'm pretty sure the one I have would do it. So hopefully next session I'll be able to bring the Hartnell to life. That'd be cool.
Get pregnant.
That only makes sense if you watch the D&D stream. I know that's just nonsense.
Birth control's a modern invention, so from evolutionary...
Wind Chanter with a bit. Why do I feel like in 5 or 10 years we will have heard about Tate being arrested or going bankrupt? Yeah, I'd believe it.
Perspective, women never did that because paternity was a huge issue. But men, we've always had sex with lots of women. We're designed biologically to run around and have sex with lots of women. If I find different women attractive, I'm allowed to have sex with different women if I so choose. And if I choose to have a relationship and my girlfriend's okay with what I do, she is within her rights to say, well, I know he loves me and I know he fucks hoes and I don't really care. That's one.
I also agree with that. If you have an open relationship, that's your business. That's fine. I don't care. I don't care what consenting adults do. Plenty of people have open relationships, and if it works for them, that's awesome. However, my problem is when Tate is hypocritical, and he's like, I'm okay with open relationships when the man's fucking around, but if it's a woman, that's a whole different story, and that's just messed up. Like, you can't have, like, I want these rights, but other people who are different than me having the same rights, I can't handle that.
Once again, her decision.
Is the D&D stream gay? It's very gay. Actually, it's less gay than it used to be. My character, who is like a Doctor Who type character, changes form and has a boyfriend. The character used to be male, but is now female because of regeneration. So a little less gay. But there's still gay that happens. Krista Willow with 10 bits. The only reason I care about Tate's sex life is because the idea of him being around children scares the crap out of me. Yeah.
Why is me having sex with lots of women offensive? Why does that make me a dangerous person? Why am I some sexist, misogynist bad guy? Whereas if I'm a gay guy and I say, I'm gay, I want to fuck loads of dudes. I want to act overtly gay all the time. I want to make gay jokes at every straight man I see. I want to be I want to fuck dudes constantly. I want them to fuck me. I want to fuck them. I want to suck dick. I want to be gay. That is worth a month of celebration. They get to close down roads and march and celebrate about it. They don't produce.
I'm not here to say anything, chat. I'm just here to hang out with my girlfriend.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Time to clip him saying he's gay out of context. I thought about saying that, but low blow. Oh ho, Baja getting ready to blast in the background.
They don't replicate. They don't populate the...
Oh god, of course here's Tate with the homophobia. Tate, the reason pride parades exist is entirely because... What? Oh, hold on. Tate, the reason pride parades exist is because historically, pretty much everywhere, though not everywhere necessarily and all throughout time, but like in America, let's say we're talking about, or even England, being gay is something that could get you persecuted, right? Your relationships were not considered okay by society. Therefore, over time, with the help of the gay rights movement and a bunch of people getting together and saying, like, hey, we demand rights, our relationships are just as valid. And that's what gay pride parades are about saying, like, hey, we're here and we're proud, despite the fact that a lot of people in society don't want us to be. That's what a gay pride parade is about. Straight pride parades are really, really stupid because no one's telling straight people they can't be straight, right? No one in history has been like, you know who we need to persecute? The straights. Because most people are straight, so of course they haven't. Like, that's the difference, Tate. You absolute numbskull. I cannot believe you've actually parroted this ridiculous nonsense.
Planet. They don't create loving...
Oh, wow, this got really, really quiet. That's weird.
Families. They don't do anything of merit besides jizz on each other.
Why can I not hear now? That's weird.
Try switching them.
Oh, I might not have had it plugged in enough.
Which is fine. It's
no, it's still really, really quiet.
I don't find it offensive. I just don't understand why their absolutely pointless sex, which leads to nothing, is encouraged by society and it's worth a month of pride. Whereas my sex...
I can't do this because I can't hear.
Do you want to switch headphones with
Sure.
me?
I don't find it offensive.
Oh, yeah,
I just don't
much
understand.
better.
And if I choose to have a relationship celebration,
This is much better.
they get to close down roads and march and celebrate about it.
Yeah, I think they're breaking. I gotta get new ones.
They don't produce. They don't replicate. They don't populate the planet.
Again, judging people by their ability to procreate. Fucked up.
They don't create loving families. They don't do anything.
That's completely... Have you ever seen Neil Patrick Harris and his family? Mm-hmm. Come on. Saying that same-sex couples can't have, like, loving families is absurd.
Of merit besides jizz on each other, which is fine. It's their prerogative. Jesus. I don't find it offensive. I just don't understand why their absolutely pointless sex, which leads to nothing, is encouraged by society and is worth a month of pride. Whereas my sex, which can lead to a loving family and populating the planet, and is the only reason anyone's ever existed ever, is somehow frowned upon and seen as...
No one frowns upon you being straight, Tate. No one cares. They care about how, like, in this case, they care about how homophobic you are and how sexist you are, but they certainly don't care about you just sleeping with women. Who cares?
It's bad. In fact, if I sit and say to people, I want to fuck as many girls, I like fucking beautiful women, and I have sex with lots and lots of beautiful women, people find that offensive. Whereas, in fact, there's many industries and many professions where I can lose my job.
MMO addicted with 10 bits. I sincerely doubt his family would be happy. No kidding. If Tate ever settles down and has a family, it's going to be the worst. He's clearly abusive. And I don't mean that, like, I don't even have to say that's speculative. Tate has literally talked about in videos how he hits women. Like, it's just not cool.
All the politicians said, yeah, I'm a politician, I'm a good politician, and I love my country, but I like to have sex with more than one woman at a time. I like to have sex with multiple women. I would lose my job. I would no longer be seen as fit for purpose. Because I like to have extra...
I mean, if you're in a professional setting and all you're doing is walking around and telling people like, hey, Bob, did you get those reports? By the way, I get laid constantly. Yeah, you're probably going to have an issue because it's really weird to be going around a professional environment and talking about your sexual conquests. That's weird. So yeah, you might face problems, but that would be a problem that you would face whether they're straight or gay relationships. I would probably argue you're going to have more of an issue if you do that and go around and talk about it if you're gay, because that makes some straight people uncomfortable. It makes everyone uncomfortable when you talk about your, like, sexual conquests, but, like, especially in the case if it's, like, a gay person talking to a straight person, they're going to get a little more upset. Like, what are you talking about, Tate?
Sexual sex. Whereas if I were to say, you know, I'm a man, but I want to become a girl, I want to...
Oh, no.
chop my dick off to take hormone blockers and put a wig on.
No, they don't actually chop the dick off, Tate. They actually invert it and turn it into a neo-vagina.
If anybody's not squeamish and really likes like medical stuff, you can see like them doing the actual surgery on YouTube and stuff as like educational. I think it's pretty fucking cool.
Change my name to Susie. That would somehow be...
Tate, if you wanted to transition and that made you happy, I would support you and your transition. I think you're a dick, but that wouldn't change the fact that I'd support you.
Encouraged. I'd like to do a thought experiment where I walk around and tell people in conversation that I like to have sex with lots and lots of different women. I estimate I have sex with 100 women a year, probably around that. They're all 9s and 10s.
How many times has Tate gotten the clap? That's what I want to know. Ask Compu with a bit. To people like this guy, vagina is just a lack of dick, and having a dick is all that matters to him. Seems like it.
I ain't fucking with no basic assholes. So I like to have sex with lots and lots of women and see their reactions to me, as opposed to saying I'm a transgender and see their reactions to me.
Because one is about like, hey, this is my identity, and the other is, hey, you want to know some stuff that's really about my sex life that you don't want to know? There's not really a comparison between the two. Like, it wouldn't matter if you were, like, straight or gay. If you just go up to everyone and your immediate response to them, like when you're introducing yourself, is like, hello, I'm Tate. I sleep with 100 people a year, whether you're saying women or men. Like, people are going to be like, that's weird. It's weird that that's your identity, Tate. I think that's the issue. The reason you're comparing someone who's trans to you talking about how much you sleep with women is because you've made that your entire identity, and that's really unhealthy. Like, Tate, what are you going to do when you get older? And especially with how you spend money, you're not going to have money. Your looks aren't going to hold up, probably. What are you going to do when that's not your life, right? You need to be a human being beyond your sexual conquests.
Isn't it crazy we live in a society where I'm just as likely, if not more likely, to be frowned upon for heterosexual sex than if I decided to chop my dick off and become a girl? Which one?
One of these things is not like the other. One of these things doesn't belong.
One of those actions
He's like, never mind.
Is truly perverse. You tell me. Think about it. What?
Neither is perverse, Tate. Neither is. If you want to go sleep with a bunch of women, go for it. Why are you comparing it to someone being transgender?
He's comparing him sleeping with a bunch of women to being trans.
Yes.
Oh, he's a fucking dick.
Ask Compu with a bit. When that's not his life, he's going to blame it on lesbians taking women away. Oh, God. You know what, man? I hope this streaming thing keeps going and the channel keeps growing, because I really want to see, over time, as we do these channels, like we've already seen, I mentioned earlier, One Angry Gamer, his website appears to be going right down the tubes. Did you see me talking about this earlier? Mm-hmm. For those of you who missed it, we've covered One Angry Gamer. He hasn't posted any normal article since August 28th, which is a long time for him, and the articles he has posted are straight up just like ads. They're ads for some awful third-party software site. Like, and his ads that used to be like the weird anime like titty stuff is gone. So hopefully the first one of the regulars on Chud Watch to bite the dust appears like it's gonna be One Angry Gamer, which is great.
We should just have a checklist to, like, that we cross off when they get their channels deleted or whatever.
Tate's gonna burn out one way or another, whether it's like he ODs on cocaine, or he gets in a car crash that's its own fault because he's talked about speeding, or if he gets locked up for like spousal abuse because he's talked about hitting women. Either way, this dude's going down at some point. Like, this is not a healthy individual.
Tools of capitalism.
What happened to One Angry Gamer? I just went over it. I'm hoping that there's just a lag in the chat because I just explained it. Either way, we should. I'm excited over the next 5 to 10 years to see what happens to the various regulars on Chud Watch.
What's more perverse?
You just returned. One Angry Gamer, the ads are off his site, and it appears he's doing nothing but, like, paid content, and it's really, really desperate and bad.
Sexual sex, which creates...
I have a feeling Tate doesn't believe the female orgasm is a thing.
100%.
Or me chopping my dick off and pretending I'm a girl. And I'm going to use the word pretending Because no matter how many times I chop my dick off and how great my wig is, I'm still a man. I was born a man and I'm a man.
Yeah, we know you're transphobic.
And this is always my argument when I say to people, yeah, I have sex with lots of women. They always give me some kind of weird answer. And I say, if I was gay, would you talk to me that way? Basically, we live in a world where all forms of perversion are encouraged and celebrated with months of pride. You must be proud of nearly all forms of perversion, which lead to seriously, genuinely,
he's definitely trash
and good for the planet. But heterosexual sex is frowned upon. That's how fucked up the world is.
Wow, Tate's transphobic. What a shock!
This surprises me greatly.
Let's see what else we can get to. Already covered that. I don't know if I want to watch Steven Crowder harassing a trans person. That sounds awful. What else do we got under Chud Watch that's maybe a little less? Let's see what the quartering's doing.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
The quartering is funny to me. The quartering is, like, hilarious.
He's just stupid.
I know, but I love it. Daddy Sume with a bit. Let's all take in a moment and enjoy the revelation that Tate has a regrown penis.
You have really weird taste in men, Hannah.
It's the father issues.
True.
What else? Is there a Brie Larson video?
Why don't you have weird taste in women, then?
No idea.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Daddy Sume, father wound. We defeated YouTube. Sure you did. There's nothing worth... I definitely don't want to watch the Quartering's 9/11 video, because that's going to be in poor taste either way. I don't know if there's anything the Quartering's been up to that I care about. That's a shame. Do more Brie Larson content, Jeremy. It sates me. What about Nerdrotic? They got anything? Feminist James Bond. Oh no, there's a woman in my James Bond movie that isn't being exploited for her sexuality. The horror. Here's Doomcock talking about Star Trek Day ratings. Female James Bond. There's just like a lady character in the next James Bond movie. And I think it's going to be Daniel Craig's last, so I think the implication is that like she's going to become 007 or something. At least that's a rumor I've heard, but that could be something that was made up by a bunch of right-wing people. I have no idea. I don't care either way. I don't like the James Bond movies. I don't think it matters. Ask Compu with a link to some Twitter thing. Hold on. Senator Feinstein, there's no way to pay for the Green New Deal. Speaker Pelosi, the Green Dream or whatever they call it. Nobody knows what it is. Senator Cruz, the last 15 years there's been no record warming. Flame tornado. Yeah. Yep. Okay, so here's him talking about Star Trek Day. Which, oh, if you don't know, CBS did like a bunch of announcements for Star Trek Day. I think it's the anniversary of the first, episode of Star Trek airing or something. And they basically just did like the trailer for Star Trek Discovery Season 3. They did a trailer for the second part of Star Trek Lower Decks. They did trailers for different series. That's all it was. And Colston of 20 bits. Here's another Chud just in case you're hurting for content. There was no... Oh, there we go. Okay. I think I saved this guy, but I'll do it there anyway. Okay.
Hail YouTube, Dominions, Doomentites, and Archvillains. Thank you all for supporting me in my effort to save pop culture. And I would ask...
We gotta save pop culture by making women not be in Star Wars anymore.
Yes, you please make sure you are still subbed, turn on your notification bell, and if you are not subscribed, please consider doing so. This channel could use your support. Thank you, and enjoy this video. Yesterday was Star Trek Day, and like a loathsome vulture descending on a fallen lion to scavenge some easy pickings from the
Ugh, the cock man with 10 pins, yeah.
Lion King, Kurtzman used Star Trek Day as a stunt to try and fund more of the very disease.
So, Doomcock, it's an event to promote the new Star Trek series, right? What did you expect them to do? Like, hey, we're supposed to be here to promote the new shows, but some people on the internet don't like it, so let's not do that. Dude, it's a promo event for their future projects. That's what it is, dude. 100 bits from Zombie Tomcat. Hey, Hannah, my friend's stream started, so I'm going to hang out with them. Have fun watching the Chuds. Thank you. Thanks for coming to the stream. How can anyone take him serious? His voice, it just makes me laugh. It's so LARPy. I know. He's so committed to this character. He did a whole hour-long interview, and he was in character the whole time. It's so weird.
That killed Star Trek. And it failed. I am told that Kurtzman was hoping to inspire investors to fund...
His sources. We've talked about this before. His sources are 4chan. He reads rumors that are made up on 4chan. There've literally been people who went in and made, like, expose videos where they made up intentionally fake information for this guy to see if he would be baited into saying, like, yeah, my sources said this, and literally hidden in the 4chan posts are things like the first letter spelling out fake, or, like, you're an idiot, all those kind of things. And he not only posted about them, and he's like, these are rumors, he said, my source confirming that his source is either imaginary or someone who's messing with him. He literally gets stuff from 4chan, and he's like, yep, this is legitimate. Freaking out 99 with a bit. How could... Oh, I already read that one. Maybe I missed something else. Maybe it was a follow. Oh, thank you. It's Geodude. Thank you for following. Welcome.
This latest proposed corruption of Star Trek, the so-called Strange New World.
The new corruption of Star Trek. It's a new Star Trek series, bro. Calm down. You're being hysterical. Thank you to... Freaking out 99 with a bit. At least Jeremy's persona is believable. The disgruntled gamer thing at least works and makes sense. Daddy Sume, my sources tell me that Star Trek is going to become a religion with Picard as a Christ figure. I totally didn't read that on 4chan. This is seriously an insider source.
Where emo Spock with his Mikey Spock phony sister that never existed.
I thought the guy who plays Spock in Discovery did an amazing job. He, like, nailed it. I thought he nailed it in terms of, like, recasting. I thought he did a great job. I'm excited for Strange New Worlds. For those of you who don't know, it's going to be a Star Trek series that takes place on the Enterprise, but prior to Kirk becoming the captain. So Captain Pike is still captain, but Spock is there as the science officer. He's not the first mate yet, though. He's not number one. Yeah, it looks like it'll be fun.
Serves...
I like him better than Zachary Quinto.
Yeah.
Aboard an Enterprise that isn't with a woman he sings with in elevators.
Oh no, he's super upset about the short trek that was cute and endearing. M the Ambassador 19. I'll give him this. He isn't just some dude sitting on $300 gaming chair with 500 pop figures in the case. He's cringy, but he's trying, I guess. Daddy Sume, what about Picard? What did you think of Picard, Hannah? I never finished it. I only got through, like, the first 4 episodes.
I don't know if this ploy was successful and managed to find some gullible investors who haven't ever heard of Star Trek or seen...
Hey, bud. I know you're super salty, but the fact that they keep confirming new series kind of means that it's making money, right? I pay for CBS All Access all year round. It's like $6. It's not that expensive. And if it funds more Star Trek, sure, I'll keep it. I think it's cool. Like, the new Star Trek is hit or miss, but that's always been Star Trek. Yeah. Star Trek has never been consistently good, even in the good series. The first 2 series of Star Trek The Next Generation are not very good, and a lot of it's even yikesy, right? Like, and the last season or so of Star Trek The Next Generation is questionable too. Deep Space Nine, I like a lot, but it changes a lot of the canon. It, like, deals with conflicts that other series wouldn't have touched. Like, in the original series, Spock's brain exists. That's an episode, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about. The animated series, pretty consistently bad, but it's funny, right? Enterprise, entirely bad until the last season. So, like, Star Trek has never been this bastion of perfect television. It's just that when it's good, it's really good.
You know, Kurtzman has crapped all over it, but I do know that from a ratings point of view, Kurtzman's Star Trek Day was a spectacular failure of staggering proportions.
Daddy Sume, Voyager. We did not mention Voyager. Oh yeah, a lot of people don't like Voyager. Voyager I like for the Doctor, and that's it. I know you love Voyager.
I like Voyager, except for all of the yikesy stuff with, like, oh god, who's the number 1 in Voyager?
Oh, Chakotay.
Yeah.
Because they got the...
is...
Because, oh, for those who don't know. Okay, so in Star Trek Voyager, the first mate, the second in command under the captain is named Chakotay. Chakotay is a Native American. Now, the thing is, the person they got to be the, like, Native American consultant for the show to try and, like, be like, hey, is this okay? What should we do with this character? It turned out he was a fraud, and he was just making stuff up. So it's, like, all sorts of, like, oh, my ancestors, we will do the mystical, like, all sorts of, like, you know, stereotypical, ooh, magical Native American stuff. It's pretty cringe. M the Ambassador with 100 bits. I remember when Movie Bob tried to do a character and everyone made fun of him. I get the vibes from Mr. Doomcock.
Numbers reflected on YouTube. Numbers that are entirely consistent with past failures of Kurtzman Trek on YouTube. Numbers that graphically and starkly illustrate the decline of Star Trek under the growth.
I didn't watch Star Trek Day because I didn't even know it was happening, but I still watched the trailers and stuff after the fact, right? Like, I'm sure a lot of people didn't know about it. I didn't see a single ad that they were doing a Star Trek Day thing. That has no relevance to whether or not it's successful when it's put on Netflix internationally or when it's put on CBS All Access here, the actual shows, not the actual, you know, thing. And there are tons of people who, while they like the shows, aren't necessarily going to take the time to watch a whole event about them. That's for, like, niche fans. Daddy Sume with a bit. Don't forget the incredibly cringy relationship between Neelix and Kess, which honestly borders on grooming and emotional abuse. Yeah. I don't remember that much about it. I know she aged very quickly or something, right?
I don't remember anything about that. I just know that all of their interactions are weird.
I thought Kess, like, when they found her was like a child, but, like, their species ages very quickly, so she was an adult shortly within the series.
Gross mismanagement of Secret Hideout. In this video, I'm going to let those numbers speak for themselves. I'm going to
Okay, if you did that, it would just be a video of you just showing, like, the view counts. You're not going to let them speak for yourself. You're going to comment over all of it for 13 minutes.
Look at the numbers for these so-called Star Trek Day panels. And I'm going to look at the numbers for the short Trek videos that were posted on YouTube. These shorts were supposed to be premium entertainment for CBS All Access subscribers, or at least they were pitched that way. They were produced as cheap quickies to exploit and placate the world market.
There's nothing funny about
exploit and placate. Such loaded language. It's so weird. It's not exploiting any more than any other product is. They just already have certain sets and stuff built, and they're like, hey, let's do a little, like, anthology short Star Trek stories, and we'll use sets we've already built, and it'll be cheap, and it'll be a cool extra content for people. I like the short Treks a lot, but I didn't watch them on YouTube. You know why? Because I pay for CBS All Access, and I already saw them. Daddy Sume with a bit. She was always an adult. She just went into heat for the only time in her life, except it was a false alarm. But yes, they lived for only like 10 years. Ooh.
That was underwhelmed with the performance of Star Trek Discovery. But the world said no thank you, so CBS...
No viewing figures have ever been released for Star Trek Discovery, as far as I know. Like, no one knows, and anyone who says they do is lying.
Changed its tune, said, oh, no, these are CBS All Access exclusives.
What?
Bailey Quinn said Jake went live.
Okay. I'll raid him once we're done.
Added value for subscribers. Yeah, it added so much value that no one wants to watch them on YouTube for free. They're like 12 minutes long, folks. But most YouTube viewers would rather spend that 12 minutes cleaning the toilet than watching Kurtzman's Star Trek. So here are the numbers. Behold the failure of Star Trek Day on CBS All Access.
My God, Bones, what have they done?
Again, I'm a big fan of Star Trek, and I'm not interested in this. Do you know why? Because it's just promotional material. I'll watch a trailer or something. But I don't need to hear Patrick Stewart come down and for a minute or whatever talk about Star Trek. Like, I know what Patrick Stewart thinks about Star Trek. I don't feel the need to watch this kind of, like, how do I put this? Self-promotional pap. It doesn't mean anything. All it is people come down and like, Star Trek means so much. Star Trek is amazing. Like, yeah, we know. We know you like Star Trek. Most people aren't interested in this kind of thing.
I now believe in a no-win scenario.
CBS All Access has 210,000 subscribers on YouTube.
CBS All Access.
Yeah, very mature. You can tell the strength of your argument when you start calling people names and, like, streaming services names.
I currently have 205,000 subscribers, and I suspect that in a month I will have more subscribers than they do.
Okay? Why I subscribe to CBS All Access on the actual, like, site where I can watch the shows. Why would I subscribe to a YouTube channel that's just about the streaming service? Like, it's a weird argument, right? Like, the main content of CBS All Access is not on their YouTube channel. Yours is on your YouTube channel. Their content is put out on their app, which is where I watch that stuff.
No lie. If I ever did a video with this few views, I would view it as a disaster. Given the number of subs I have, if I do a video with 30,000 views, I view it as a failure. But just...
I'm the ambassador with 100 bits. This would be like going to a musician's video, hyping up an upcoming music video, and showing the low numbers to say that nobody will watch the music video. Yeah, it's very stupid.
Look at these numbers, people. Look how Kurtzman's Star Trek has diminished interest in the franchise, killed public enthusiasm, plunged the...
Promotional videos that are like a minute long aren't the franchise, you idiot.
very topic of Star Trek into a ratings abyss. You think that Picard was a success? Look at the Star Trek Day 2020 panel with Sir Patrick Stewart discussing Picard. 2.1 thousand views in 19 hours.
It's a minute-long video. It's not even some in-depth thing. If I saw this in my feed, I'd be like, oh, it's gonna be Patrick Stewart being like, I'm so excited about Star Trek. I loved being in Picard. Blah, blah, blah. Happy Star Trek Day. I wouldn't waste the time. Why would I care? It's just promotional material.
My God. If I had a video, any video, that scored like that, especially one starring the distinguished Sir Patrick Stewart, my God, Bones. I would absolutely, I have no words. Think about it. Sir Patrick Stewart.
By the way, I called it. He said, I'm going to let the view count speak for themselves, but then the video is just him speaking the whole time.
About Picard, it only takes you a minute and 17 seconds to watch. It has 2.1 thousand.
That's actually turning me away. Like, why would I want to watch that? There's clearly nothing substantive there.
1,000 views. Star Trek Day 2020, the Star Trek Universe panels. 3 hours and 30 minutes. has 3.6 thousand views. And that's a whole panel of celebrities.
Celebrities. They're people who are on Star Trek shows. It looks like based on the thing, they have Patrick Stewart, the woman who plays the main character in Discovery. We have Captain Janeway. We have Sulu. Like,
the
they're...
numbers are much better now.
What are they?
The two, like, panels, they've got...
Okay, yeah. So they're a lot higher now anyway, but
Star Trek Day.
I'm a huge Star Trek fan, and I don't feel the need to watch these. I don't think that's indicative of the ratings of the actual show.
2020 Picard in the Next Generation panel. The Next Generation panel. 21 minutes. Had 7.5 thousand views.
26,000 views now.
Wouldn't that tell you that it has nothing to do with the quality of the show, and it has to do with the fact that people just aren't interested in these panels? Because The Next Generation's like the most successful and popular Star Trek series of all time, and it only got that many views, even though it's up higher now to 26 or whatever. Like, if it were that people didn't like New Trek exclusively, wouldn't they have still watched that panel? Do you not understand how this shows that your argument is really, really stupid?
The best that they have to offer is the cast of The Next Generation. They couldn't even get 7.5 thousand views. That tells me that things are so bad, folks, that it has actually diminished and impacted not just enthusiasm for Kurtzman's Star Trek, but all Star Trek.
Oh, so you have to say that somehow retroactively people dislike Discovery, which the first season I get. Second season I enjoyed. Excited for season 3 to see where it goes. You're saying that retroactively it somehow ruined people's enjoyment of Next Generation. That's very stupid. Like, again, Star Trek Enterprise existed like 20 years ago. Star Trek has put out bad Trek. It hasn't sullied people's view of the franchise, right? People still like the franchise bits that they like, even if they don't like other aspects of it. That's a very stupid argument.
Star Trek The Next Generation.
My God. It's full of suck.
Star Trek Day 2020. Sir Patrick Stewart, it looks like Jonathan Frakes, 1.9 thousand views. Another clip with Sir Patrick Stewart describing something or other, 1.5 thousand views. We've got 659 views on this video, Star Trek Day 2020. Watch out for these guest stars. No thanks, said YouTube. Ooh, we'd rather clean the toilet. We'd rather trim our toenails. We'd rather clean the litter box. Star Trek Day 2020, Jack Quaid reveals blah, blah, blah. 637 views. Star Trek Day 2020, Tawny Newsom's favorite parts. I don't know who Tawny Newsom is, and I don't care. 403 views in 19 hours. Star Trek Day 2020, Lower Decks panel. 4.3 thousand views.
And the ambassador with a oh no, I already read that. Sorry, must be a different one. Deep Southern Man, thanks for hosting.
Oh, I mean, am I exaggerating? Look at this.
Yes, you are. You're blowing this way out of proportion, and it's kind of hilarious.
We've got Star Trek Discovery, Get to Know Grudge the Cat, 2.9 thousand views. Star Trek Day 2020, Anthony Montgomery explains something that only 256 people on YouTube were interested in.
Let me see how many videos did they put out? Do you still have that link open? Like for the CBS All Access? Because the amount of videos they put out matters too. It looks like they were putting out, I thought it was just the ones you had already shown, but if they put out like 2 or 3 dozen videos in the span of a day, yeah, they're gonna get low views. Because people who would normally watch one are also gonna be split,
well, yeah,
right?
They put a ton out, so
1, 2...
like, it just goes...
Hold on, go down a little bit. The Star Trek Discovery Season 3 trailer got 2.2 million views. Is he going to mention that? Or is he going to just be like, no, that doesn't count because it doesn't fit my narrative? So they put out 35 videos in a 24-hour span. If not, I don't know if they dumped them all at the same time or if they did them one after another. Regardless, even if they did one per hour, of course people are going to be split on what videos they're going to watch because they're all going to show up in their subscription feed in a big block. Or only a couple of them are going to show up because that's usually how YouTube works. If you upload a bunch of stuff at once, it either shows up as one block of content and people aren't going to click through all of them necessarily. People don't have the attention span to stay on one thing on YouTube that long. Or two, they're not all going to show up in people's subscription feeds. Again, the trailer for Star Trek Discovery Season 3 got over 2 million views.
So it looks like they had a panel for each of, like, the shows.
Yeah.
And then these small ones are just, like, highlights.
They're highlight clips from the panels.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Oh my god. This is absolutely...
This is Doomcock.
I'm escaping. One place that hasn't been corrupted by capitalism. Space!
Sergeant Four-Leaf PUBG, thanks for subscribing.
And CBS All Access can't see what...
I'm just gonna... Hold on. CBS All Access. So here we go, the panels, obviously with more views than they had when he was talking about it, and it looks like they're still uploading videos from this. Let's go down to where's the trailer? Star Trek Discovery Season 3 trailer, which we're not going to watch because I don't want to get flagged for like using their video. Over 2 million views. Do we have any other trailers that they showed? Star Trek Lower Decks mid-season trailer got 21,000 views. It's a new show though. Like, wouldn't the 2 million views on the Star Trek Discovery Season 3 thing give Doomcock pause to be like, hey, it seems like a lot of people actually care about this show and care about where it's going in Season 3. Otherwise, why would it have 2 million views?
He didn't scroll down far enough.
He didn't. He must have known, because I'm sure he watched the trailer. Like, he's so disingenuous. It's ridiculous.
Kurtzman is done. Really? Star Trek Day 2020 Enterprise panel. 7.6 thousand views. Star Trek Day 2020 Dominic Keating on the items he blah 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 229 views in 20 hours. Scott Bakula himself, the captain of the Enterprise.
He was the captain of the NX-01 Enterprise, which was like the least popular show in the franchise.
In a Star Trek Day 2020 panel, 656 views. The Ready Room with Will Wheaton. Better be ready for ultimate fail because it only got 341.
Is as weak as your dollar. Failure is your destiny. You disrespect yourself and your nation. You are made of stupid.
Views. Star Trek Day 2020 Ethan Phillips has all the non-viewers, I'm guessing is the rest of that. It says 530 views. The all-time champion, oddly enough, is the Star Trek Day 2020 panel from Voyager, 10,000 views. Still, after 20 hours, a chronically, horribly anemic viewership that would have me looking for a bridge to jump off if it was me. So, that is basically the true and accurate tale of the numbers.
Let's ignore the 2 million view video that's a trailer for the actual flagship show of this era of Star Trek, though. because it would make Doomcock look
There's
bad.
nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Freaking Out 99, he probably thinks the lower deck is political because it has a brown woman in it. It seems like that's how he feels about Star Trek Discovery, too.
Star Trek Day is supposed to be a celebration of Star Trek, but this is a wake. A wake in a dry county on an Amish farm in a 105-degree day in the dead of August. Dry and drier, without any music at all, except for Ma on the spoons and Pa on the apple cider jug.
The ridiculous pictures he paints are so funny to me. He's so hyperbolic. Again, I've liked a lot of the Star Trek content that's come out of CBS All Access. I think Lower Decks is a lot of fun if you haven't seen it. It's basically a comedy series set in the Star Trek universe. It's by some of the same writers as Rick and Morty. It's funny. I like Star Trek Discovery in Season 2. I'm excited to see Season 3. I'm excited for Strange New Worlds. Like, this idea that he thinks that Star Trek has become this, like, dystopia and that it's just trash and no one likes it now is so hyperbolic and so, like, narrow. It's so strange to me. Like, if you don't like newer Star Trek, that's fine. I can't make you like something you don't like, and that's completely fair. But to act like because you don't like something, like the franchise is coming to an end and it's all just crashing and burning, is the most childish, solipsistic worldview I can possibly think of. I'm the ambassador with 100 bits. I think he's trying to be poetic, but he doesn't understand prose and rhythm, maybe. Daddy Sume, this guy seeming to like Star Trek just seems stupid and antithetical. He plays a Nazi and likes the most progressive sci-fi setting, yet hates all progressives. Steve Shives did a good video where it's like, what do right-wing people see in Star Trek? And I highly recommend that if you're ever wondering about, like, right-wing people liking Star Trek and why that might be. I don't know if it's, like, a definitive answer, but it's an interesting video that looks at why that might be the case.
Star Trek Day and these videos that they've posted are about the future of Star Trek. But fans know Star Trek under these people has no future. No surprise, given how utterly wretched Discovery, Picard, and the shit Treks are. Want metric proof? Look at these numbers on their premium short treks, offered free on YouTube. F-Frame and Dot. After 4 days,
Is he using the same screenshot? I'm pretty sure he showed this, like, right after they came out, and I think they're higher than that now. Hold on, let me go. CBS All Access. I need to go to YouTube first, sorry. CBS All Access. Maybe I have a playlist of short treks I could take a look at. Lower Decks. Twilight Zone. Short treks. So yeah, he's showing out-of-date view counts on these. What a shock. Either way, again, I like short treks, but I didn't watch them on YouTube. You know why I didn't? Because I pay for CBS All Access, and I already saw them.
Gotten 1.5 thousand views. Children of Mars, CBS All Access 4 days ago, 1.4 thousand views. Ask Not, 4 days, it got 1.4 thousand views. I know commercials that do better than that. The Girl Who Made the Stars, the bestest ever, 939 views. And the winner, Q&A, Star Trek Shit Trek, 4 days posted, gets 2.
There's the trailer for it, where they only showing the short treks for a limited time or something. Hold on. Afram and Dot is on there still. The Trouble with Edward, that's just a trailer. Escape Artist, CBS All Access, that one's on there. 18,000 views. That's just a behind the scenes thing. That's a trailer. That's a trailer. That's a behind the scenes. Behind the scenes. That's just a trailer. They might have removed some of these because it was like a limited time thing. Because I don't see them on here anymore.
1,000 views with the so-called saviors of Kurtzman's Star Trek, the Strange New Worlds cast.
I don't necessarily think it needs to be saved. I like Lower Decks. I like Discovery. They really made like a face turn in season 2. I thought it was pretty entertaining. I liked it. Excited for season 3. I feel like I'm a broken record, but every time he talks about it like this, I just need to, like, bring reality into it and be like, hey, there are plenty of people who like this show. It's fine. I'm excited for Strange New Worlds, but, like, I'm fine with the shows we have currently.
These guys, number 1.
I haven't finished Picard, so can't really comment on it.
So-called number 1 that really is kind of like number 2 in my book. And Pecker Spork, or Emo Spock, however you want to call him, doing scintillating dialogue inside of a damn elevator, singing at
That's one of the better short treks. I like the Spock in the elevator one.
each other. 2.1 thousand views. This was 4 days in after they were posted. 4 days. This is free Star Trek entertainment offered to the world, and the world can't be bothered to watch it.
I think that's because Star Trek is a pretty, how do I put this? It's a very specific fan base. If you're into Star Trek, you're into Star Trek, and if you're not, you're probably not. You know what I mean? It's not like Star Wars where it has this giant broad appeal. I think it's a little more niche than that. So if you're someone who's a fan of Star Trek, you already have CBS All Access and you've watched these, or you've illegally downloaded them. When they're uploaded to YouTube, why are you going to watch them again? You already saw it. If you want to watch it, you can watch it on your TV with your CBS All Access account. I also don't know how people would necessarily know about this, right? Like, again, unless you're searching, like, CBS All Access short treks, how are you going to know they're online? I don't know. There's a million and one reasons, and it could be that people just don't like them. But I think jumping to that when there are other explanations is a bit weird, considering they continue to truck along, and it seems like they're doing fine with the amount of people who subscribe to CBS All Access.
The original Star Trek inspired so much devotion that even when the show was canceled by NBC, fans would not let go of it. It spawned spontaneous conventions held by fans for fans. The big difference back then, of course, was that Star Trek was being produced by people who love Star Trek, and now Star Trek is being produced by people who hate Star Trek for people who never cared for Star Trek. I think the rationale on CBS's part is they thought, oh...
Why would they make Picard then? Again, if you don't like Picard, that's one thing. But to say that they're trying to broaden their audience and they don't care about Star Trek fans, why make an entire series that's intent is basically next generation fan wank, right? That would make no sense. Or why would they be doing Strange New Worlds, which is entirely based upon knowing what the Enterprise is and who Spock is and like why that's something that's interesting? Why would Lower Decks be something they're doing, which is entirely based upon making fun of like Star Trek lore almost? A lot of the jokes are like things that you need to know. I watched an episode the other day and the ending joke was hilarious. It was like, here, 2,000 years in the future or something, and it's about how like historians get things wrong, and the final joke is like, and now we'll talk about the most important person in Starfleet history, Miles O'Brien. And it's like, oh, that's a funny joke, but it's a joke that you wouldn't get if you didn't watch Next Generation or Deep Space Nine. So like, how can you say that they don't care about Star Trek lore when they're consistently referencing it. Very strange.
Oh, if we have 100 million Star Trek fans, that means we have over 7 billion people who don't like Star Trek. Let's make a Star Trek for those people. Our views will soar. Yeah, great idea. Look at the billions of subscribers.
I don't even know if he's delusional. I think he just is all in on the grift. I think he just knows he gets a lot of clicks from this garbage. Miles O'Brien saved the entire Federation. Don't disrespect the Space Irish. Sure.
There's nothing funny about the
Zonated, Zonate Zonated Dragon.
That was really hard, love. I'm proud of you for making it through.
2-month subscription streak, thank you.
And views you got there, Chief. Meanwhile, the chronically abused and mocked Star Trek fans of actual Star Trek have fled.
Star Trek
That's what happens when you make a mockery of Star Trek. You think it's a laugh to put human DNA into tribbles and then show kids eating them.
That was funny. That was a very funny short trek. Yes, that was funny. Oh no, we can't destroy the sanctity of the tribbles as a lore thing. Dude, it's a comedy.
It's not like they ever said what made tribbles
right.
Anyway.
Tribbles are a silly, stupid concept anyway. It's a great episode, but it's by far not one of the best episodes. How do I put this? It's one of the better comedy episodes of Star Trek, but even that episode didn't take it seriously. The fact that you're like, oh no, the sanctity of tribbles has been trodden upon.
I liked that episode.
I did too. I thought it was cute.
I've always been a huge fan of
There's nothing
Star
funny
Trek.
about the tools of
Star
capitalism.
Trek, the original series, is my favorite. It's my go-to. If I watch Star Trek, it's the original series.
The Trouble with Edward. Daddy Sume's asking for a link. I don't know if it's online.
There's a trailer for it.
Full episode. Do they have that on here? Short Trek, The Trouble with Edward. Yeah, it's not on here anymore. I think they had the short treks on here in full for a limited time, but then they removed them. So you'll have to get a CBS All Access account or pirate. It's fun. It's a fun little short trek. And John Benjamin plays a Star Trek character in it. It's fun.
Taking in cannibalism. That's what happens when you retcon Spock's entire life to make some kind of bullshit point about girl power and Mikey Spock being the bestest ever, perverting Spock and his family as characters just to...
You've perverted the Spock family by having him have a sister who's black. Who cares? What? I thought all the Spock her stuff was good. Like, it gives an interesting explanation of, like, and it's not like you need this. Again, this is all fan wank material, which is why it's so weird to me that you're saying they're making
Please
Star
don't
Trek.
make that hand motion ever again.
My point being that, like, the idea of Spock having a human step-sibling that helped him sort of, like, reach parts of his humanity, who then ripped it away from him by being incredibly cruel. That's interesting, right? If you're gonna do the, like, let's look into the lore and, like, the let's look into Spock's history, which you don't really need, but if you're gonna do it, I thought it was well done.
Yeah. I liked that they gave a really plausible explanation for why he never mentioned Michael, like...
Yeah. Daddy Sume says, no one tell him about his half-brother who was mind-raping people. Yeah. In Star Trek, the final... which one was it?
It was 5.
5? Was it 5? The one where Spock just out of nowhere goes like, oh, this is my half-brother. He's like a Vulcan messiah, and he can, like, use mind powers to comfort people. And, like... Spock already has a history of having siblings that he hasn't mentioned before. This isn't new.
Yeah, it was Final Frontier.
Final Frontier.
Or points with the woke crowd. That's what happens when you inject utter stupidity like sonar in space into a story. Sonar in space so they can detect Klingorks that they can obviously already detect from light years away because...
Freaking Out 99, let's be honest, he only cares that she's brown. It's probably a pretty big part of it. Winchanter, I remember my dad wouldn't watch Deep Space Nine with me because Cisco was black. Oh, your dad's a friggin' asshole.
Because they detect them entering the orbit of the sound planet.
Is your dad Doomcock? I think that would fit.
The space antenna. To say Kurtzman Trek is moronic is to insult morons.
I don't know how to break it to you, bud, but there are some pretty dumb episodes of all Star Trek.
That's true. Vulcan Princess, they mentioned Vulcan Princess in that movie. That's so
Behold the numbers. Numbers don't lie.
Right down here, below the part that he's showing, is the 2.2 million view trailer for Discovery Season 3. But we can't mention that, because it'll go against the anti-new Star Trek circle jerk.
Star Trek is a moribund franchise after only 3 years of abuse. I don't know if the corpse can be revived, but CBS better get out the shock paddles and get a new creative team in lickety-split.
And the funny thing is, too, I've mentioned this before, too, I don't think Alex Kurtzman good. I do wish he was replaced. But, like, I don't think that Discovery is bad. I don't think that, like, Lower Decks is bad. You can say Alex... The first season of Discovery is not good. But I like the second season. Kurtzman isn't good, but that doesn't mean the entirety of New Trek is trash, right? Very strange. Is Doomcock a 60-year-old drug addict? If so, maybe.
If there's going to be any hope of saving anything. From the center of the earth, this is Dictor Van Doomcock bidding you all, my friends, stay angry.
Jesus Christ. Okay. That's enough of this nonsense for the day. So thanks, everyone, for coming to the stream. I really appreciate it.
You definitely spelled that real wrong.
Whoopsie. I can't type and talk at the same time. So thanks, everyone, for coming to the stream. It's been a lot of fun. I'll be back tomorrow for probably some Sovereign Citizen stuff. So stay tuned for that. Have a good evening. Enjoy Jake's stream. Have a good night, everyone.
Have a good night.
Chat's valid.